Hello, and welcome to round 7 of the Syndicate Racing League 100. It is with great pleasure that I haven't uninstalled a game this week, so I'm actually able to present this weekend. So let's do a quick recap of the Drivers' Championship after round 6. Zandvoort, another win by Struggs, takes him to 137 points. Fade on 102. OS Degrees in third position, way back on 62 points, but a very, very good charge from him nonetheless. Matusas on 48 points, Skull the Bull on 43. AJS Inden unlucky to crash out last weekend. He's on 42 points. Captain Rainbow Fox, a strong race from him, unlucky to miss out on a podium, 34 points. He's on Poland. He's on 26 points. His Tango, a new driver to the league, already on 18 points for his second league. It says his Tango on there. That's a spelling mistake. That's my bad. I'll get that changed. And of course, Keji, who's no longer part of our league, he's on 18 points. So, Constructors' Championship after round 6. Williams is absolutely dominating. 239. The leaders, really. Clear leaders, clear favourites to take the championship at this point. Did he already have one hand on the championship trophy? No, because that's a stupid cliche. Ferrari back in 96 points in second. They're doing remarkably well too. Another great team performance from those two. As they did last year. Battling with them last year was infuriating because they just kept on getting the points. Alpine have 62 points, AlphaTauri have 56 points, and Red Bull have 53 points. So, as we jump into this weekend session, it is short qualifying, then a sprint, and then the full race. I think the sprint maybe 18 laps. That's completely off the top of my head. So, we'll see if anyone decides to leave the pits early doors, and we'll also try and get a bit of an update on the weather situation for qualifying and the race. Let's have a look. If I jump into my app, really good fella for dead air here. As it loads in, we have clear conditions for this session. In qualifying, this short qualifying session, 18 minutes, as we see cars start to leave the pits and desync out. You love to see it, F122. And the sprint race also looks like it's in clear conditions, but cloudy. A little bit cooler tomorrow, or well, in 18 minutes' time. So let's have a look at the cars on track. Spectator camera, got full track map on. Lap data, that needs to go on. Telemetry, that's okay. Tyre is completely pointless, but we will go to who is in the lead here. So we have an Alfa Romeo already out on the track. It must be the Alfa Romeo dead in the pool, so that takes us to our reserve drivers for this weekend. Alfa Romeo of dead in the pool. I think Tobler's race seat being filled by dead in the pool. Temp is the temporary driver for Aston Martin this weekend, filling in for Buddy's seat. And we also have one more. Who is it? It should be really clear. Alpha Integral, of course. He is in for the Red Bull this weekend of Soul Collector. So, Alpha Integral's been a great reserve so far. He picks up some good points at Zandvoort last weekend, second place. He also picked up 20 penalty points for his use of reset to track, but I think he knows about that now. And let's go on board with a Red Bull. Let's go on board with AJS Inden. He's second in queue, so he'll be setting one of the benchmark times, I'm sure. Obviously, we have dead in the pool out in front of that, but let's go on board with the Red Bull because they claim they don't get enough track coverage as they take on the Temple of Speed in Monza, Italy. A bit of a dry race today, let's say that, as he starts the flying lap. Some cars coming out the pits. It's going to be really tricky for AJ here as he breaks about the 100 metres that get out of the way into Rettifilia, the first of the chicanes around this iconic and historic track. Obviously, it should always be on Hair Captain Cool Wine. So this is Grande Curva. We all know that. And into the Della Roggia chicane. Really tricky. Can ride that in the curve very nicely with the FBS split still in. Oh, we're a bit squirrely out of there. And let's switch to another car so we can watch the rest of this at racing speed. We have Temp. He's already on the run down to Ascari. I believe he's on the outlap. Who else is on a lap? Struggs. He's just coming through Della Roggia where AJ just made a mistake running wide into the gravel. He goes into Lesmo 1 and into the second Lesmo here. Very tricky to get the power down, have to ride that curve all the way out, but keep a wheel just inside the white lines, which I think Struggs does very nicely there. Still on a lap here, coming to Ascari, a bit more traffic on the inside, may distract him, but need to ride as much of that left-hand chicane as possible. Then right, then left, and you're onto the back straight, and they're running into Parabolica. The famously named Parabolica, the 180 turn at the end of the track. Picks his braking zone about the 50-meter marker, turns it in nicely. Good, a little bit of a delay on power there as he got his back end loose, and Struggs puts in a 1:26.64 to start things off. We have a 1:21 from Chonk, a 1:21 from McLeod. A good time for McLeod. He's really improving on that wheel. OS Degrees in the Ferrari, the home Ferrari, the Scarlet Ferrari, wearing a special helmet this weekend. I don't think it's a special Ferrari yet, because of course F1 didn't release the Ferrari car that's specially run this weekend before the Grand Prix, so we're going to have to use it next week after the Grand Prix. I don't understand that. Maybe it's some weird licensing issue. Skull the Bull, a 1:22.47. Good pace around there, setting the first, I think, the fastest lap overall there. Yeah, it is a very good lap. Who else do we have over the line? We have Fence. He goes even faster, a 1:20.121. Really, really quick times already coming in here. I think a kind of low 1:20 was where my qualifying time was for a pole, and I think it's already been took. So Hairstyle Shop here, Captain Coolwine. If it's your first time here, drop us a follow. We'll really appreciate it. Stream every Syndicate Racing League 100 race every week. We'll have an SRL-50 race coming in soon. To be announced whether I'm the commentator for that or someone else will be picking up the duty for that. But that will be on Friday nights, and we have places available that will be advertised soon. So if you want to be part of our league, click on the Discord, discord.gg/Syndicate Racing to join our Discord. And if you're interested in racing, join some of our casual lobbies. They run through the week, as well as opportunity to become a clean driver, join our league system. I think we have a really good setup here. Oh, Fence has done it, hasn't he? He's got the stupid fish helmet on. The stupid fish helmet, right, he's disqualified from the session. It's doesn't matter if you're fastest. He's got stupid aerodynamic fins, so that's poor. But yeah, going back to what the spiel I was saying, yeah, we're have quite a good system. We've got league stewards which you can get involved with. If anyone is interested, give us a shout. And it's really good fun racing server. Lots of lobbies through the week, and definitely. So a Stealth Shot saying he's setting a F2 beer league for Wednesdays up. It'd be fun to have a regular F2 session. I think we had one of those at a practice race on Friday. I think F2 set around here, the feature and sprint was quite fun, even if I did absolutely nail Captain Coolwine a couple of times. So apologies for that. I think Denver Poole has retired, so I don't know if he's crashed out somewhere. It's awfully early to retire. Geordie is not on a lap. Let's follow some cars that may be on a lap. Chonk weaving up his tyres, I think, preparing for a lap here. So we'll go on board with Chonk. AJ Sinden has set a lap time of 1:27.20, so must have gone around again. 3 laps on those soft tyres. Obviously, they'll just be thrown away after this session. Alpha Integral 1:20.050, really setting the pace here. I think Struggs knows he can go faster than what he can. Maybe a high 1:19s is on the cards for him. I made a few mistakes on his lap, but we'll go on board with Chonk into turn 1. This will be super tricky during the race conditions in the sprint race and the full feature races. Oh, he just gets big slap of opposite lock out of there, and that's his lap over, isn't it, really? And he's done 3 laps on those, so he'll be going and pitting and changing for a new set of tyres. Temp is in the pit out lap for Rugriff. Alpha Integral's just set his lap and is invalidated this one for good measure anyway. AJ Sinden, is he on a lap? He could be on a lap here. He's not invalidated, but he also doesn't look like he's absolutely bombing it, and he's recharging, so his hot lap is certainly off. And he's on the grass doing a bit of rally sport. Kimi Räikkönen impression there, I think. So he's not on a lap. Chonk isn't on a lap. Fade, he may be on a lap. Let's see where he is. 0 laps, yes, he'll be on a lap here, pushing through Grande Curve. Or Curva Grande. And into the Della Roggia chicane. Riding that chicane quite superbly there. I think the thing to do at the moment is just have your FPS set to quality mode, just to have the best FPS possible for riding the curbs, because that's that stupid glitch that's yet to be patched. Hopefully will be patched next week with the introduction of that special Ferrari livery for the 75 years of Ferrari. So, where can Fade put this? He's not actually set a lap time yet. Where can Fade do it? They are second place in the championship. He's roughly 25 points behind his teammate at Struggs. He's more than 25 points. He's 35 points behind his teammate at Struggs. So he's going to have to make up a lot of ground this weekend. And he does put in a better time than Struggs. But Struggs will have just started a lap. No, he didn't, because he's invalidated. Pushing too hard. He'll have another attempt at a lap, possibly. Or he may just opt for a new pair of tyres and not scrub up these tyres. But looks like he's pushing. No. He's coming into the pits for sure. And that was just not following the pitting braking marker there. I know you don't get penalised for it in this session, but that is taking a piss. Just driving full force into it, not respecting the speed limit there at all, but I guess trying to maximise his time out on track. Fade on the lap here, so Matusas, he'll be on a lap. Is he? Yes, so he's going through the Curva Grande, and you can see his charges dropping. The track map is not red, so as he goes into this second chicane on the circuit, I think he could have took more. There's a spun out car there of must have been IBN, because I think Fence is in the pits. Yes, so the AlphaTauri Fence spinning out at the Dell'Orgio chicane into the second Lesmo. Matusas goes, tries to maximise corner entry through there. The DRS in the middle of the track on the run down to the Scari under the famous historic banking at Monza. And how much of the curve will he use? How on it is it? He doesn't use that much curve. I think he's more curve to be used there. And certainly not quite on the pace of the front runners this weekend, Matusas. But I'm sure he'll be there or thereabouts. Let's see if he can improve with this lap time as he comes to the final corner at Parabolica. Let's go off board and watch him cut the timing beam. Where does this lap button? Is it an improvement on a 1:21.713? He's in 11th at the moment, and he jumps up to 8th. Jumps up to 8th, Matusas. So that's top 10. Obviously, that would be 8th position for the sprint race. Sprint race determines the order for the feature race. And the feature race is full length. The sprint race is full length, but only like 18 laps for a sprint race. I'm saying 18 laps. It could be 21. I can't quite remember. I don't feel like it's 21. I feel like 21's way too high. 21, yeah. I haven't researched it basically this weekend. I'm showing some gaps in my research. Let's see. Alpha Integral, he is not on a lap. AJ Essendon, he's in the pits. See what people are saying in chat. Captain Corner, definitely following. I'm already a reserve driver, so who knows what the future brings. Who knows? Hopefully have you in as part of the SRL-50 or SRL-100 as soon as a race seat comes in. And get your name down as a reserve. I think I usually post reserves for the next race straight after this race. So look about, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes after the race, you should see reserve post. Stealth Shout, you're getting at this race. It's a fun time. Yeah, it is really good. We have some pretty full lobbies of casual racing, which is insane to see 2.5 months into the cycle. I think early this year, we started this Discord January this year. It's already grown to about 170 members, and we have like full casual lobbies during the week. It's really, really fun. So let's go away from watching the pit, and let's go on board with Struggs, because Struggs should be pushing, surely, as there is a follow, who is the follow of. It didn't actually show me. So whoever followed me, thank you very much. It didn't show me on my side. It was Dream Chaser KitKat. I don't know who that is, but hello, Dream Chaser KitKat. KitKat Chunky or KitKat Four Fingers? Which one would you rather have? That's my question to you. So Struggs is on the lap here. He's gone purple in the second sector. He's yet to set a really fast lap time. I say that, he's in 5th for 1:26.64, but I know he can go quicker. He'll be pushing himself really hard, and he's got a lap together here. One lap already on these because of a corner cutting infringement. Where can Struggs put his car? He goes through the Parabolica, rides the outside line to maximise speed through the corner and onto the straight. Where does this put him? It's not fast enough. 2:04 improvement, but only 2 temps. So he'll have one more attempt to get around. But that is not what he wants. OS Degrees in the Ferrari at home. Okay, we'll go on board with AJ Syndicate because we've had a shout out for him from Dream Chaser KitKat. Chunky, I think I agree. You can turn a four finger into a chunky though by snapping it in half. And my brother told me that trick today. But yeah, chunkies are supreme. So he's winding up for a hot lap here. AJ Syndicate, our Red Bull driver, the first Red Bull driver, let's say, certainly this weekend, as his teammate is a reserve Soul Collector. Been on holiday last week, hasn't made it back for the race. So AJ Syndicate, of course, won Monza last year. I think on the final lap, put it in to the first corner. I think everyone in the league was happy for him to pick up that win, and he'll be hoping for a good result here. After a bad result in Zandvoort, crashing out really near to the end, surviving what was a crazy race, and he hurtles towards the first corner at nearly 350 kilometers an hour, braking at the 100. And we go off board and watch him navigate through Rettifilia, the quick right-left. But it's not that quick, guys. He's warming up his tyres again. So I think he's either not happy with that lap or wanting to go again. Maybe, yeah, so he hasn't deployed his formation lap. So maybe just going again with that one. Interesting, not too sure. Maybe, was he on a lap? I don't know. Maybe, no, he wasn't on a lap because he's got full beams. So maybe just going around one more time, trying to burn off a bit of fuel. But interesting to see. OS Degrees is on a lap, so let's go on board with him as he goes into Lesmo 1 and catches the inside that curb, and you can see it unsettle the car mid-corner, and that has left him facing the wrong way. A yellow flag flown for his teammate, Captain Rainbow Fox, who's yet to actually put a lap in, but is on an outlap, so wouldn't have been hindered by that. And he gets to spin it anyway, so Alpha Integral's on an outlap, so it doesn't matter that this is invalidated. Who else is potentially on a lap? Matusas going through the Curva Grande now, this long right-hander. Hug that inside as much as possible. Fade has retired, so I don't know if he's retired in the pits there, but I think he's had oh no, I think Fade has retired. It's hard to tell if that's a Williams because all of the icons are blue. I think he's retired under the old Monza circuit there, so a strange place to retire if that crash was him. I think it was, yeah. Just here that he crashed on the right as Matusas comes up to the end of the second sector. Bit of traffic in the way, that would be distracting. Is he faster? He's 3 tenths faster. Where would 3 tenths faster put him? That would put him up in 6th position, challenging AJ, but a bit dodgy through Ascari. I think caught off by the cars behind. I don't think they're quite paying attention there. Aston Martin and the McLaren. Actually, McLaren got away quite nicely out there as there's a spin through the first sector. But we'll ride on board with Matusas through Parabolica, misses the apex completely, rides the outside curb. Has he done enough? It's been a bit of a shocking end to the race. He tries to minimise his line. Shocking end to qualifying, only just faster than his old lap, and I don't think that's pushed him up anywhere. So we should have AJ Syndicate on a lap here, coming for Ascari. Has he done enough? Oh, just ride on board with him, and that's him facing the wrong way. I think that's him done. No, he may have time to get out one more time, but he's going to have to get on with it quickly, and I think Captain Rainbow Fox may be just a bit disrupted by that anyway. He will be able to get around again, but whether he's got enough fuel or tyres or talent to get around, we'll see. So, coming around the final corner, I'm just going on board with people and they're spinning. I don't know what's going on. Captain Rainbow Fox has binned it at Parabolica. He will be starting from last on the grid unless he can get it around in time to go around again. I'm not sure he will. He won't be going at any kind of speed, but I think he's just going to have to go and do it. See if he can jump a few places, right, and see. Hopefully he hasn't done anything with his lap, so he gets a time on 140. Can he beat a 123 or 122 with that slower start of the lap? Usually you come here about 350. He's just down KPH-wise, so he will have to go again. Alpha Integral is not pushing. He has improved to a 119.8. So that's a really, really good benchmark for his pace. Struggs, he is on the lap around Ascari. I hope I won't jinx him. And how is he doing? Is this enough to take that first position off of Alpha Integral? He's had so many pole positions this year. Obviously, this is the pole position for the sprint. Can the man with the purple helmet do enough to unsettle Alpha Integral? His Tango is his discard name. Can Struggs do it? He does! A 119.8. He put in the lap right at the last, 6 tenths faster. He has took pole position away from Alpha Integral. It's going to be a right ding-dong between those two again at the front, unless someone else can put a lap time in to improve this. AJ Sinden's just a little bit down on his time. I don't think he's done enough here to improve his time. No, he hasn't, and he's binned it over the line for good measure. As we have McLeod coming around the final corner, his pace really has improved on the wheel. He doesn't improve his pace there and has to dodge a car. Captain Rainbow Fox coming around the final corner. Has he done enough to improve his time? Yes, he does jump up into 13th position. So you have to wonder what kind of form he would have had, maybe a top 10 position, if he wasn't so compromised into the first corner, of course, after spinning at the final corner. So just rescued something out of that, but I don't know if it's better to start from 20th or 13th, to be honest, with this first corner. It's going to be absolutely mental. Yeah, right. So I think that is people done with qualifying. I don't think anyone else is going to set a time. IBM's coming to the pits. So I think that is it. Everyone else has seen the checkered. People's coming into the pits. We'll just watch these people pit. I will quickly clip the standings. So just in case there's a race restart situation. So if you're not following us, please drop us a follow. We'd really appreciate it. I never actually realised, I never actually posted in here that we're live. Twitch. There we are. And I've actually posted in the main Discord that we're live. Okay, so let's have a quick go through it. Struggs will be starting on the front row next to Alpha Integro. Another pole position for Struggs. Fence in third. Good form of him. The second place in the championship fade is down in fourth. Scholar Bull in fifth. 10th in sixth. Chonk in seventh. AJ in eighth. OS Degrees in ninth. The Ferrari not having a good qualifying session, at least at their home crowd. And Medusas in 10th position. So let's just have a scroll through there and have a look through the incidents. Right, okay. And let's just have a clip of that. Obviously, if you are in the race, do not ready up for the next 5 minutes. There will be a message in the Discord about what time you should ready up. And if you do ready up before then, just don't ready up. Just don't ready up. That's the best thing to do. Don't ready up, and you'll be all right. We have a clip of that published. So let's have a quick look at what time the race start will be. Looks a bit gloomy, doesn't it? But it did say it wasn't going to race on my app, but who knows if that's truth or not. I think league discussion, the time has been posted. It's 2027. That race start will be, so in 3 minutes' time. And let's have a look. Make sure that F122 is the game selected that's being streamed because it's not showing. And I'll have a quick talk through some strategy. I mean, this is a sprint, right? So there's a bit of gaming the system you can do. If you want to do like a soft, medium later on, you may want to use a pair of softs in this, or a pair of hards in this. But I think medium hard is going to be the best when it comes to, so there's a couple of drivers going on hards to save the mediums for the race. So that indicates that they're going to go soft, medium in the race, which isn't a bad idea, to be honest. A couple of mediums, they're going to be a better race tire than those hards. But it doesn't give you many options if you have to pit early. You can't put on a pair of hards and see how long you can go. So it's a bit of a gamble, but as long as you don't have to use a pair of softs in this sprint, then you should be fine. I mean, I think a pair of softs may get you quite far in the sprint, but you may be dying on your arse by the end. About 20 seconds in the pit loss here, 22 seconds or something like that. It's quite a quick pit lane, but it's also quite a fast bit of track that goes by. So I can't remember quite how many laps this is. I'll be able to tell you that at the start of the race, or does it say in the race director? It doesn't say in the race director, but we have Struggs on pole, Alpha Integral Fence. They look to all be on mediums at the front, with some of the cars at the back, hards. They'll be going backwards in the sprint, but hopefully have better strategy in the race session. We'll get ready in just 1 minute. We'll get racing in just 1 minute. This 5 minutes just gives our drivers a quick chance to go and take a refreshment break, comfort break, whatever, get their head in the right place, and then the formation lap will begin, giving them a lap to warm up their tyres, and it will be down to the chaos of turn 1. And I'm hoping that people are a bit respectful of you there, try and give people as much room as possible to get their places done and not just cut people off. We can actually see... No, we can't see the race session yet, but I will do as soon as the formation lap kicks off. I think qualifying will disappear, and I'll be able to see the next session, which will be a race, see if we have any wet conditions for the weekend. Obviously, someone can let us know. Joker saying, please don't chonk me, guys. Chonk, for people who don't know, is a very good racer, but also very instant pro. Elbows out, I like to call them. That's my respectful way of saying it. So there's 23 seconds until the start of the formation lap, and I'll go through what tyres people are starting on, where people are starting, and a reminder that the top 8 position gets points. First place gets 8 points, 8th position gets 1 point, and it cascades from there. So respectively, first place gets 8 points, and 8th place gets 1 point. So the formation lap should begin soon. TM. There we are. Right, okay. So, predicted pit stop strategy: medium, hard, 0 stops. AWS magic right there. Thanks for that, Jeff Bezos. Right, okay. Interval, detail, position change, telemetry. Turn telemetry off. Let's just have tyres on for the formation lap, just so we can talk that through. And full track map, interval, lap data. We can hide lap data. And let's hide the UI. Not the UI, the spectator menu. Okay, so Struggs. He is on a pair of mediums. Everyone down to OS Degrees is on a pair of mediums. So Struggs from Alpha Integral on the front row. Second row is Fence and Fade. Scullable. He's doing well in the championship. He is in 5th next to our reserve driver, our second reserve driver, because of course Alpha Integral is a reserve driver. He's in the Aston Martin this weekend, and he is in 6th position. Chonk in 7th position. Elbows out as ever. Let's see how he can do in one of the pre-warm-up races. He absolutely nailed his start. Gained 7 positions on the first lap. AJS Inden in the Red Bull, looking very mighty. Around here, I'm sure he'll have a lot of consistency. Of course, won the last time we raced at Monza. Now, OS Degrees, he's on a pair of hards. He's one of the first people to try and ditch the mediums. In this race, and gain them in the feature race where you score more points. Matusas is in 10th in the Alpine. Alex Trent G also on the hards. He is in 11th. McLeod, he's in 12th, looking better and better each week. Gearly getting some consistency and race pace on that racing wheel. Touchwood, hope I haven't given him the kiss of death for this session. Captain Rainbow Fox, lucky to qualify 13th, really with a late spin, but recovered from it and got 13th position. Hopefully not in the mid-pack of death. Joker is in 14th. Rugriff, 88th. In the Aston Martin, he's in 15th. Mr. Paul Baggery, he's the last of the hard runner. He's in the Haas, and he's in 15th place. Geordie is in 17th. Wool is in 18th. IBN is in 19th. And Den the Pool crashed out early doors, and he is in 20th. So we will go on board to the front of the pack. Let's turn detail back onto positions changed, because that is the most important graphic. And let's have a look at... Why are all of these angles terrible for a race start? They're all awful. There's nothing I can do about that. Can't move that around. Let's just hope it sorts itself out. We don't even have the 5 lights in that one, so let's have 5 lights in this one. No 5 lights in any of them. Right, okay, so 5 lights. The sprint begins at the Syndicate Racing League. Right, okay, this is a really long one. At Monza, We have a good start by Fence in the AlphaTauri as they go into the first corner. Where are they positioned? Oh, just battling around the outside. Oh, there's massive carnage. A Red Bull was up in the air there. Let's hope it wasn't AGS Inden. I think it was. I think he's got wing damage on the first lap. He'll be going all the way backwards, and then there's a car, a Ferrari, trying to get out of the way, causing more carnage. They've gone backwards, but what's happening at the front? I think Struggs has got away cleanly there, and there is Scholar Bull, who's fallen down massively, 15 positions. You'd have to think he was involved in that first corner melee. Certainly saw a Red Bull in the sky. I think it's a Red Bull of AGS Inden. Really lucky to have any kind of incident there. Temp is up 2 positions. Chonk is up 2 positions. Alpha Integrals had a poor start. He was just in front of that collision, and you can see where the collision started because Alex Trent G is 2 seconds back already and out of that DRS train, that important DRS train that you have to stick into. I think cutting the corner a little bit there, probably getting a warning for that on the entry to Ascari. And he runs out into Parabolica. Where are the close drivers? Let's look through. I think one of the closest is that second position on Struggs. Spence putting the pressure on the early doors, of course. If you get first place in this session, there's 8 points towards the championship and the pole position for the feature race, which will put you in the ideal position to not have damage or contact into the first corner. Of course, it gets all messy behind there. AGS into the pits and getting a 5-second speeding penalty to boot. He'll be super frustrated that that is going to cost him plenty. He also only started on those mediums. So that's the mediums races. He's got to go on to a pair of hards. And we'll stick with this battle at the front fence, 5 tenths behind Struggs. Let's see if there's anyone closer in the pack. Degrees making places up on Wool. I think he's done that on the exit of the Retifilia chicane at the start of the track. Also, Denton Pool is close behind the AlphaTauri of IBM. And he heads into the first Lesmo and the second Lesmo. I don't think there's going to be any places gained there. Fence keeping up tabs with Struggs to the front, but that gap just starting to flirt with the top end of the second. So that would crucially take him out of the DRS range. And he's up 1 position from the start. Fade also at 1 position, as Alpha Integral massively lost out at the opening phase, just narrowly avoiding the situation that happened up in front. Fence, now let's see how he's doing for EOS usage. He's really conserved his EOS nicely, so leaving himself a lot to battle with. And Struggs has used a lot of EOS to try and break the gap. So Struggs is under genuine pressure from Fence here. Genuine speed from the man wearing the stupid fish helmet. And it's good to see Fence putting on a good show here. He will be under serious pressure. Now DRS is activated. He'll have it as long as he stays under 1 second into the Ascari chicane at the straight after the second Lesmo. I'll talk you through it when we get there. Let's ride on board. And I'm not going to ride on board with people because they just make mistakes. That was another mistake from Fence, putting all the pressure on, doing all the right things, and just being too greedy with that chicane. And that has cost him big. But he'll have the speed and he'll have the DRS here on Fence, on Fade, Struggs' teammate, nonetheless. And Poland is who this person is in our championship. It's Fence, his gamer tag, and he will be pushing all the way. He had DRS there. I think it's a tricky position to overtake into Ascari. It usually goes wrong on the exit if you try to go 2x2 into there. Captain Rainbow Fox is pushing. So's Alpha Integral on Chonk, but Chonk is close up behind Temp nonetheless, and it's Fence 3 tenths behind Fade. Fade will not have DRS here, so this is a really good opportunity to overtake as there is a spinner. IBN has spun on the exit of Ascari, but will ride on board Fence into the first corner. Where can he put himself? Skull and AJ again, maybe that seems that maybe have the crash. Can he? Oh, he just doesn't have the speed into that first corner, and that be music to Struggs' ears that he hasn't immediately got by, because actually the pace from Fence is there, but he's also conserving his EOS as nicely as possible. I think Fence doing a clever thing here, let the cars around him burn their EOS, and then pounce when they are absolutely defenseless. I think Fade using a lot of EOS into the first corner. We have Temp is really under pressure from Chonk. Chonk trying to go the long way around De La Roche here. That is not going to happen, even with someone of Chonk's talent, and that's put him a bit of under pressure from Alpha Integral. He's right up behind the Mercedes of Chonk. But will he have enough speed here to carry through a bit of speed through there, but doesn't have a great exit? So we'll fall back slowly from the Mercedes with Chonk, and Chonk will live to fight again. Fence closing up on Fade. Fade will struggle, and actually Fade is doing a good job of closing down the gap to Strug. So this hasn't worked out too badly for Fence. Fence is being pulled backwards into that fight at the front with Strugs. So the battle for first position is certainly not over here. Strugs will have to do everything to keep out, and because Fade is using a bit of EOS, he's actually not helping his teammate here. So teammate was certainly not in play. We hope not, because these two are leading the championship and should be battling with one another. Yeah, DNF for Strugs this weekend in both sessions, and a win for Fade could bring him back into contention in the championship. He closes down into the first corner. He's not quite close enough and just decides to pick his battle later on. But again, Fade has used more EOS than Fence has. And Fence will just happily bide his time here, waiting for a moment to pounce. And they're both slowly closing on Strug, so sometimes it's better to work together. Alpha Integral, meanwhile, has got by Chonk. Chonk won't be happy with that, but Alpha Integral will be on a march to get back up into the leading shots of this race. We have Joker, DNF, a DNF from Joker. That looks like a DNF on the straight, maybe in the pits. IBM is also DNF. At Ascari, it looks like another spin around Ascari. You have to think he has some damage. And actually, Fade has spun. Fade has spun through the Lesmo. Not sure what's happened there, but this is disastrous for the championship because there's just no spot around this blind corner to overtake. And it is a VSC as well to boot. So, that didn't seem like the right place to rejoin. That was a bit dodgy. I think he just got tired of waiting, but may cost him a bit more in the future there. I feel like he didn't get in the way, but certainly must have been a bit scary for the McLaren of Geordie going by there. So we have a VSC at the moment, so that means that cars have to follow to a delta pace. That delta can be pretty frustrating sometimes, especially in this game, really inconsistent through the sections of different tracks. For example, the end of Japan is just so woeful how slow it is around there. So Chonk on Twitch, I have wing damage because Temp tagged Integral. That makes sense. So you were involved in that incident, presumably. It wasn't like they tagged each other and then somehow your wing disappeared. You must have been in that a secondary collision, maybe. So Chonk fighting with wing damage, and the VSC is still out. We can tell it's VSC because it doesn't tell us, but it does tell us on the little flag boards, which is half useful. It'd be good if it told us in the broadcast, but obviously F122 don't care. And race control, we go live, driving through penalty, speeding under the pit lane. VSC, we go back to green flag racing. That's for dead in the pool. Must have just mistimed his delta. I was talking about the delta there. You have to stay under a certain lap limit each race, so it'll tell you in the top right-hand corner you're plus or minus. If you're plus that time or minus that time in the red, basically, as you go racing again, then you get a drive-through penalty. It's a flat penalty, and if you do that and you're under by 18 seconds as well, you get a penalty. But looks like green flag has caught out Denham Pool there, and he'll have to go for the pits, trundle along, and he can't stop his tyres, can't do any of that. But Fence now is unlocked and able to chase down Strugs. It'll be interesting over the next few laps. Can Strugs do enough to keep Fence at bay? It certainly seemed like Fence and Fade had the pace to push forward. Fade all the way at the back here. He'll have a bit of time to come back, but he's 14 seconds down on AJ. AJ's 16 seconds down on Skull, and Captain Rainbow Fox has crashed. So now this is really just a case of trying to stay in it. Captain Rainbow Fox has crashed on the exit of Ascari, and it's a full safety car. We can tell it's a full safety car now, not again because it broadcasts and tells us, but because you can see the yellow car in the bottom right corner of your screen. I'm pointing at, like, you can see where I'm pointing. Bottom right corner of the screen, there's a track map. You can see the safety car coming out of the pit lane now, just going past the yellow orb area at the moment. So that is a full safety car that will bunch up the field, and it allows Fade and AJ to live and fight another day. AJ will probably go into the pits, presumably, and serve that 5-second penalty. He doesn't. That's surprising move. Maybe he feels like he'll get lapped if he goes in the slot. So he'll probably go once around, and then that will, cause him to lose some positions, but get rid of that 5-second penalty. That'll be really important. So the crash at the exit of Ascari for Captain Rainbow Fox. We didn't see what happened there. They're going slowly, I think, just trying to stick to Delta there. Just caught off a bit. So I can't remember what I was just saying, but I've just been reading a message from Chonk on Twitch saying he tagged Integral, and then I rear-ended AJ. Because Temp tagged Integral, he tagged Integral, then so AJ was right. Okay, so someone broke too late. A mess ensues, and that's fun for the stewards to pick up. Obviously, after last week, we had 28 incidents at Zandvoort, and Zandvoort really doesn't have that many places to have an incident, right? It has one clear overtaking zone. Anything else is really audacious, and a lot of the moves that were penalised were moves in just strange places of the track. Now, this place has two really, really good overtaking opportunities. That's at the end of the main straight and the end of De La Roggia chicane. Then there's a half decent one at Sky, where this car of OS Degrees, the Scarlet Ferrari, has just gone by. So with more overtaking opportunities, you expect more incidents. Anyway, we've changed the way we're actually going to officiate. We're going to be giving more major penalties out. And a major penalty means now that you'll get 10 points on your license flat, and you'll get a 5 second, a 10 second, or 20 second, 5, 10, and 20 second penalty applied to your license. So one of those three we picked at the time. So Scholar Bull has gone to pits. AJ Sinden still hasn't pitted. So I don't know, is this a different... Maybe this isn't a 5 second penalty he's got against him. I'm surprised that he hasn't pitted. Let's have a look. So he's got a 5 second penalty. So if I was AJ, and I'm not, I would have pitted, served that 5 seconds, and then there's no way that 5 seconds is getting dumped on me at the end of the race. There's 10 laps to go. There could be a whole nother safety car, a whole nother load of craziness. I'd go on to it. I mean, he's gone on to... Let's have a look at the race director. If he's gone to a second pair of mediums here, that's really bad for him. So he must have started on a different tyre to what I'm thinking here. So he is on pit stops. He's actually yet to pit. He's just fallen really far behind. No, he did pit. He went from medium to medium. So now he doesn't actually have any mediums in the race. So he'll have to do soft hard or some kind of wizardry. Maybe he feels like, I'd go on to those pair of mediums that he had at the start of the race. And, I mean, he's used them up anyway. Cleared that 5 second penalty. But I'm not him. And he's obviously decided that would be a bad move for his race. Let's see how it works out for him. There's two drive-throughs. So there's Geordie and Dead in the Pool, both sitting with drive-throughs. They'll have to serve that after the full safety car has come in. And when it's truly in the pits, otherwise they'll just pit you and you have to pit it again. There's also a 5 second penalty for Wool. Everyone doing well on the corner cutting penalties. So there's about halfway through this lap, and you have to imagine that the safety car will come in this lap because it will bunch up quite nicely. I just completely missed it. There was a Haas in the bottom left-hand corner. So maybe not this lap. They are slow through here, but if it comes in this lap, it's coming in really late this lap, and that is really bad. But we're right on board for Fence. Struggs has pitted. Fundamentally, I actually missed that. So Struggs has pitted for tyres. Let's have a look at what tyres everyone is on at this point. So Struggs has gone onto a pair of soft tyres, which will be great. I think he was leading the race. Maybe he had some damage. Maybe decided, I don't want to get caught up on a bad pair of tyres. I think these mediums will still have strong pace, and Struggs will actually leave himself with quite a lot of work to do. Getting through the pack cleanly as well, which is always tricky. He's in the mid-pack there. So we'll have a look at his progress, but it means that Fence is leading the race. Temp, who is a reserve this weekend for the Aston Martin team. Great to see the Aston Martin car up there. He's in second position. I think the safety car is going to go around just one more time. I don't think this Haas is going to catch up with the pack quick enough. I think it would have to do it by then to have caught up. I think if it goes in now, it's disaster. So they'll go around one more time. So we have who's pitted. Rugriff looks like he's pitted onto a pair of softs. Denpool has also pitted onto a pair of softs. OS Degrees onto softs. Skull onto softs. Fade on softs. Will still trying to catch up, just avoiding being lapped there, I think. Obviously, if you get lapped in real life, you can unlap yourself as long as there's time in real life. There wasn't. It was really badly handled today, the whole safety car situation. But in the game, you just can't unlap yourself. So falling a lap behind is basically curtains to that session. You can serve 5 second pens under safety car, but you can't serve drive-throughs. Only the 5 second penalties can be served under safety car. He asked, can you serve? You can serve the pens under safety car, he thought, but only some, not all. Like the 3 second ones can never be served. The 5 second ones can be served 5 seconds at a time. So if you've got like 20 seconds worth of penalties and all of them were from 5 second penalties, you have 4 penalties then, and you can serve 1 each pit stop. So you can't just sit there for 20 seconds and take them all. And drive-through penalties have to be served in normal race conditions, so not under VSC, not under the full safety car, which we have now. So, we have 8 laps left. So this will be a bit of a shootout. It will be interesting to see the progress Struggs, Rugriff, Dead in the Pool, Erstdegree, Scullable, and Fade will make Fade right at the back here. I think his bushes have been saved a bit. I think AJ Sinden has decided not to pit because, he has 5 seconds worth of penalties, but he's hoping he can build a gap to the cars behind. Anyway, safety car is in this lap. We'll ride on board with Fence. We've been clear about this in the rules. You have one return to racing, and it should be after the ready to resume racing message. I can't see that, so you have to judge it on, is the safety car heading into the pits when Fence decides to speed up? It should be after that. If it's around there, that's fine, but basically he shouldn't get limited. And it looks like he's just waiting and he's gone. That is a clear return, so no problems with that restart. Let's go off board. Let's see where the gaps is. Chonk always close on a restart, maybe a bit too close. He's all over the back of Alpha Integral, using up a lot of his EOS too. Alpha Integral decides to defend the inside line. Can Chonk get the move done around the outside? He tries to stick it in, but this is going to be a slow exit. I think a car has gone absolutely flying down the central barrier, smashing through. It's Giordi? No, it's Alex Trent G in the McLaren. Hopefully he missed everyone there. Strokes, he is just behind this battle with Matusas just behind. And Chonk looks like he's got through at De La Roche. He's got the move done. So that will frustrate Alpha Integral, who had a bit of a slow restart there. He's off the back of the cars in front. Temp all over the back of Fence here. He will try and stick within that 1 second. And it's 3 temps behind for Alpha Integral. No DOS for the opening 2 laps. That will come back on lap 13. We will see the first DOS usage after the safety car, presuming there's no more safety cars, as Struggs, he is making a move on Matusas. How hard will Matusas battle this? He battles it quite hard, but he's off the track. He'll have to concede that place. Gone off the track there, does the right thing. Oh, and he spins for good measure. Ascari is so difficult. So difficult, Ascari. If you go offline, there is one really good line through there. If you go offline, you're all over the place. And I think him defending that has cost him there, and he's got to disqualify for going the wrong way. This game is so harsh with that. That's not the first time he's been hurt by that this season. Very difficult, but that's clears one for Struggs. He's now looking at the back of Alpha Integral, his sparring buddy from last weekend. Is he waiting? I think he's biding his time. The safety car is out. And Fence's Temp Chonk have smashed. Oh, God, I don't think they realised. Fence and Temp are out of this session. You just saw them crash into the wall there. I think they did not realise that the safety car was coming out there. Now, for some miraculous reason, Chonk leads this race. Struggs is back up into second. And we have another safety car period. I don't know what the hell happened there. I just don't think they realised the safety car was right there. They broke heavily. I think that maybe caused Temp to crash into the back of Chonk. Chonk speared into the wall. Temp was out from that collision. That was strange. Yeah, I saw that Matusas just qualified from race for going the wrong way whilst trying to get back on track after spinning. So Temp just rear-ended Fence. So it looks like Temp, that's what I was saying. So Temp just misjudged that Fence broke, and that caused both of them to DNF. So we'll have to see that in the incident review. Really unfortunate, Matusas. That I was saying, it's the second time that must have happened to you, because I think that happened to you at Hungary as well. Just after the end of the first sector, right? You were getting out of the way. I was disqualified. Was that over? That was only from qualifying, right? But difficult. You were running in a good position, 7th place. That would have been 2 points on the board, and 7th place in the feature. But the worst thing is, Matusas, that's all the best thing for you. I don't know if you could put this, that because you disqualified, you're actually in 20th place. So as long as no one else disqualifies, you can just pick your way through the carnage. And we know you can win from the back. So it's not all a loss. It's just a couple of points that you've lost there. Really frustrating nonetheless, but at least you get to pick your way through the carnage of turn 1. And let's face it, there will be carnage. Did anyone decide to pit? It looks like 4 cars decided to pit. AJ Sinden has gone to the back of the grid now and served that 5 seconds penalty. So I feel like he should have served that earlier, but he didn't. Whatever, that's fine. AJ Sinden at the back of the runners. Only 14 runners left in this 18-lap run. That's an abysmal turnover rate. There's been too many incidents, but he has now served that penalty, has a fresh pair of softs to attack the rest of this race on. You'd have to think that the safety car will come in this lap. Really disappointing for Temp and Fence to be out of this session. Fence has run so well throughout it, and I think Fence just got rear-ended. I don't think Temp realised why Fence was braking. If you go past the safety car for a split second, I don't mean split second, it's 2 seconds, then you're counted out and you're disqualified. It's ridiculous how stringent that is. So he had to slam on the brakes because the safety car was coming out and they were battling into turn one. Probably should have realised a bit sooner. That left Temp to smash into the back of Fence, who didn't have time to react. From my eyes, at least, Chonk also kind of corroborated that, saying that Temp just rear-ended Fence. That has DNF'd them both from the battling for the lead of this race. Disappointing to see. I've ridden on board with so many people who have just spun and had incidents. I wasn't on board with them that time. So, we have 5 laps to go. 5 laps to go after this one. 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. We'll have 3 laps of DRS, presuming that there is no further incident. And safety car is in this lap. So let's ride on board with Chonk. Again, what I said is let the safety car go, back up the pack here, then one clear, concise return to racing when you know that you are not going to get gapped by the safety car. And what I mean by that is if you get too close to the safety car, so if he went now, he'd catch the back of the safety car and the safety car would effectively slow him down, and that would cause a concertina effect. We saw it a bit last weekend, and we're saying if you cause that, you are responsible for it in the rules. So slowing it down very much. There's a lot of bunching. Probably could go just a little bit quicker, to be honest, but he decides to pace as long as it's not too dangerous behind. People just need to be cautious. And it says medium tyres. He's going to try and cut Struggs unawares. This is a battle for the lead here. Struggs has much better softs, but those softs will start to go out, and he catches them out. Geordie goes into the pits. He must have a drive-through or something. Oh, he gets a 5-second speeding in the pit lane, but I don't think it'll change as well. I think Struggs has got a bit of a run on him, but I don't think we'll be able to get a move done into the first corner. But you can see how much more confidence he has. Certainly has better braking through there, and he will have a run at him in around the Curva Grande. This long right-hander used to be a difficult corner. Now it's just flat out. It's almost like a straight, and he'll have a run. Where is Chonk thinking about putting his car? He's put it to the left, he put it to the right. I think that was one move to defend there, so fair enough. Oh my god, and Struggs just so much quicker through that chicane. But now he has OS Degrees right behind him. Where has OS Degrees come from? Oh, he's just had this race fall into his lap. He's in third position in that Scarlet Ferrari. I'm sure he's gained a lot of positions here through qualifying, well, through the sprint race. We have some battling in the pack, but we're going to keep our eyes firmly planted on the lead of this race. Struggs tries to go for a move around the outside. Does he get it done? Chonk sticks the inside. And it just runs Struggs wise, and Struggs has to join the grid. And now OS Degrees now has a chance to take pole for the feature race. He's going to have a run. No, he's just backing away, not taking the EOS there. And there's another safety car. Oh, Lord, how is there another safety car? This is ridiculous. 3 safety cars. Denver Paul has been disqualified from the session, parked in a dangerous location. So I don't know how he's done that. But how is there another safety car? This is ludicrous. We've had 3 safety cars and the VSC in 18 laps. I think people are being a bit too punchy. I think it was an incident with Denver Paul there, and OS Degrees, I think he'll be frustrated there. He felt like he had the moment to strike against Chonk. And now Chonk has a couple more laps. It may just be 1 or 2 more laps to breathe. I think on a sprint, this safety car can come in quite late. If it was a feature race, it would definitely come back in this lap. So we'll have to see. But OS Degrees has slowly crept up into this race. And look at that, behind him, McLeod in third position, in the Mercedes. The Mercedes 1 and 3, a double podium for them. If they can take this result to the end, McLeod, as I was saying earlier, just such good pace coming out of him now. He's transferred from controller to wheel. I know certainly when I switched to wheel way back 12 years or so ago, just took me to another level playing racing games. It just connects you with a car that you can't get on a controller. I'm not saying that controllers are bad, because some of our fastest drivers are controllers. But I was never that fast on the controller, and I'm still not amazingly fast on the wheel, but I can win a race or two. And you can certainly see that from McLeod. He's starting to get the pace together. Now, will it come in this lap? We'll see if we get the message. We didn't get the message here, so it may go around one more time. It certainly shouldn't be any more than one more time. We may also see the Haas rejoin the back of the grid. If he does before the final corner, then we should see the safety car come in It's going to be a tight one, whether it's called that way or not. I think that's the position where it would have come in. So I think it will go around one more time, and we'll have 3 laps of racing. We won't really see many DRS overtakes, so people will have to get the moves done if they're going to get the moves done. AGS Syndicate up to 11th position after pitting in the last safety car. Who was the big gainer at that one? Probably Alex Trent G. He's up to 8th position. McLeod, he's also pitted at some point and put on the pair of mediums, so I don't know if he started on the mediums or hards. I think he may have started on the hards. I can probably find that out. Let's have a look at the race director and see what he started on. So he started on a pair of mediums, so he's used up 2 mediums as well. So AJ Sinden in a similar position as AJ Sinden, but a lot of tyres have been used up in this sprint race. It's been crazy, really. We are around the time when we finish a full qualifying session anyway, so it hasn't added too much time onto our proceedings, but it's been a slow few laps. 2 racing laps, no DRS remainder. Yes, you are right. Yep. Harry Fabian, thank you very much. I don't know who you are, but you're right. There will be 2 racing laps. We won't see DRS, not even for the back straight at Ascari. Welcome to the stream, by the way, first-time viewer. Are you in the Discord, Harry? What's your name in the Discord? Let me know. So this should be it. This should be. Oh, it's Kiwi on tour. Hello. Yeah, I've raced with you. It's hard to know with all the nicknames, right? Especially I've been off for the last 2 weeks, so people with different names. I'm still trying to get to learn all of it. So Chonk now takes control, and we'll just ride on board with him a little bit longer, just to make sure that his restart's all clean. To make a point of doing this because sometimes it can cause a problem. So he's going about 90 kilometers an hour at the moment, which is, I think, just fine enough as long as the cars below know that he's going at about an average speed of 90 kilometers an hour. They can follow that light. Obviously, can cause a bit of a concertina, and he's just waiting for that safety car to go back into the pits. This is good stuff from Chonk, and he's not accelerating too much. And he'll just pick a moment where he feels like he can drop OS degrees. Now, Ferrari and Chonk, that's a battle that happened all last year. And plenty of instances that happened. Hopefully, we don't have that in this race. And we see one clear return to racing. Is it going to be a similar place as he was before? He goes now. EOS fully on. OS degrees, can he do a job at staying with him? He can. Alpha Integral looks really, really close to the car in front of Strugs. I think Geordie is going backwards. He's gone to the pits again. Painful that is. And can we see a move by Alpha Integral? That was stupendously stupendous. Let's just say that. That was never going to happen. I think he outbroke himself there, truth be told. And we have a car going backwards. It's Alpha Integral going backwards. He got a corner cutting penalty to boot for that. So that's really, really cost him. Going for a move that wasn't ever going to be on, I think, just outbreaking himself. And truth be told, now Strugs is just behind McLeod on these softs. But these softs must be starting to go off now. You can see how much better traction he has through Della Rocha. I think he's going to have to get by now and soon. So will he go for a move into the second Lesmo? He's certainly looking to put his car up there, but that's a really tricky place to do it. And McLeod now has a run on the outside. McLeod is a racer. He won't want to give that place up. This is a really good position for the Mercedes boys. Really good points as well. Up at the front, we have OS Degrees going for Chonk, but he's not going to move. And Strugs has made that move into Lesmo. Now Strugs has a lap to catch up with cars ahead and pass. Now OS Degrees, he's looking like he is going to go for a move into the Parabolica. Is this the right thing? I'm not sure if it's the right thing, but he does get the move stuck. And now Chonk is open to attack from a car behind, but he certainly will be following close. Chonk wants another go at this. He'll have the slipstream from the car in front. OS Degrees will cover the inside line, use up as much EOS as he thinks he can get away with, and they're side by side with Della Rocha. OS Degrees hands in the space. Strugs wants to get involved with this. A better drive for OS Degrees. He may take the sprint race win here, his first win of the season. This is supreme racing, too wide through that first corner. And I have no idea what's happened to McLeod. That's really unfortunate for him. He was running so close. And Strugs goes for an absolute lunge. And he nearly kills the race leader in the process. And to be honest, he's just absolutely shattered himself because now he's behind Faye. I don't know what the hell he was up to there, but he nearly killed OS Degrees. That would have been super bad. But not in the film way. So Urs de Vries now has the lead of this race. Has he done enough to win this race? He's absolutely come from nowhere. Chonk is now under pressure from Fade. Fade will be sensing danger. He will be able to start from the front row of the goat if he can get this done. If Fade can get it done, can he get it done around the outside? He doesn't leave much room, and he goes off the track. That leaves Chonk compromised for the rest of Ascari, and Chonk is then... Oh, I have to watch track limits with Fade there, because I'm unsure if he actually got the job done on the track. Looks like he was just off it for me. And let's see. So, Chonk loses out there. Two Williams boys do get second and third. Do they go for an overtake at the line? This will be a point even way for the championship. I think Struggs has just fallen behind there. Fade, but a fantastic sprint race win from Urs de Vries. Absolutely amazing. Chonk with wing damage, pulling together a fourth place. Really falling foul of a move from Fade down. Be interested to see that one again, because I'm not sure Fade kept it completely in the white lines. But we have Urs de Vries in the Ferrari winning the sprint race. It's his first win of the season. We have Fade in second position, claiming a point back on the championship leader. His teammate Struggs in third, and Chunk coming in fourth. An absolute carnage at the end. Not carnage, it was just an absolute sprint to the line. Breathless stuff. And Chunk saying he could have defended better without the wing damage. Of course, that is the case, but those are that's what you dealt with. So, Urs de Vries is in... Oh, let's ditch that, actually, and let's go to sprint and look at this, because Urs de Vries is winning in that one, and I'm just going to nip through, because I'm not even going to have time to do this otherwise. So I just like to get all the get all the standings on camera so we can see. And I don't think I'll have time to look through the race director, but incidents, let's have a look through here. There's so many incidents for a 5 lap. This is insane amount of incidents. And let's see if I can get the pit stops in as well. That's good to have for review later on. Let me just clip this. But yeah, Urs de Vries taking his first win of the season. It will count as a win in our history books, but it's just a sprint race. That's still 8 points. Really, really good for him. Great racing from him. I think he just silently carved his way through the pack. I don't even know where he came from. But after that second safety car, he was there to win it. So let's clip what I just recorded. And there will be a start time in the Discord for our league racers who were watching along. I don't know how people do that, but people do. So, qualifying. So it wasn't qualifying, it was sprint race. So, Chonk saying both of them fully overtook me off the track. It looked close to the line, didn't it, Chonk? Obviously, please let us know in the put your incident in for review. We'll have a look at that. Make sure it was all above board. It was certainly close to the line. I think what's really unfortunate is Fade's move. If he was over the line, it actually cost you quite a bit, because you then lost a further place to Struggs. But we'll have a look at that for sure if you've got the your incident recorded, which I'm sure you do. So we could actually take a quick look at the race director and just go through it. I'll also find out the start time from the Discord. If you're not part of our Discord and you're watching along, we've got a link to our social in somewhere on the About page of Twitch. It's discord.gg/Syndicate Racing. So, league discussion, and it is a lot of people chatting. Hello, quality. I don't think we've actually got a race time yet. Oh, no, we do have a race time. 21:07. So we have 3 minutes. So I'm just going to take the quickest break, and I'll leave you with a view of the garage, boringly, because otherwise I get locked out. So I'll be right back. So, some messages in the chat. Joker saying he got rear wing damage and spun after. T1 and my sprint was ruined. Yeah, that sucks for you, Joker. But whole race to go now. Hopefully people are a little bit calmer. Obviously, someone has jumped the gun. So we will have to view a count bag. I think that's a red flag. I hope someone can catch who did it. Yeah, so that's been red flagged by AJ. Who was it? So someone readied up. So I don't know who readied up, but we'll basically have to go and recount it. I will send AJ a clip. So this is why I take a clip of the results, because if someone readies up before the start time, which was 21:07, put in by AJ, then we have to reform the grid and move whoever put the yes in basically to the back. So we'll exit multiplayer. I'll get another invite in just a second. Let me send this to AJ. So it looks like it was Fence who was the one who caused it. So I think he actually caused one of the last ones. So this causes a bit of delay to proceedings, which is a right pain in the ass. Okay, so red flag procedure. I'll just talk people through it who haven't seen it for the first time. Basically, in the league races, we operate a kind of 5-minute ready up rule warning. So we put a message into the Discord league discussion saying, don't ready up for 5 minutes. Now, you saw that observed perfectly for the sprint race, 5 minutes. And then someone readied up at 22.7 or something like that from memory. Now, we had a one set for 21:07 there, and someone did it at 21:05. So that person, I believe, was Fence, looking at the state of the Discord. Shit's absolutely flying through. I may actually just put this onto slow mode, just because, oh my god, how do I put it into slow mode? Here we are. Let's just put it on slow mode every 10 seconds, something like that. Just because the messages are flying through and we need to kind of sift through this a bit better. So we basically have to reform the grid. So everyone will rejoin this session. I took a screenshot. I took a kind of screen grab, a clip of the standings, and everyone will be put back into their places where they should be lining up for the race. It will just be a race session, as that's the one that failed. And Fence, who was the culprit, will be moved back to the bottom of the grid. Now, the way it's set up at the moment is if you do that once in a session, then you move to the back of the grid. If you do it 2 times in a session, then you're removed from the race. Maybe we'll have a discussion with the stewards and say, if you do that once in a season, you move to the back of the grid. If you do that 2 times in a season, you're disqualified from the race. Because it is actually quite an encumbrance to people. It slows the session down by about 10 to 15 minutes as we kind of regroup, change session, set it all up. And sometimes people actually can't finish the race because they think, oh, I've got 3 hours to do this, and then it may overrun 3 hours slightly, especially if it's a safety car heavy race. Hopefully we won't have too many safety cars in the main race. I only put my safety car prediction down as medium for this race, but from the sprint we had 3 in the VSC, so that seems a bit what's the word? It's a bit underestimating it. That's what it is. It's underestimating it. So Chonk says he's going to send his clips in during the red flag period. That's good. They won't be reviewed until after the race, but just get them in. It'll be good to review them. Take the position off the track. So this is turning a bit into Michael Master here. There's a conversation between Fade and Chonk saying that Fade will go back down to P3 if he wants. Chonk, you can accept that offer if you want to. You can accept that offer and we can call this done. Fade moves down the grid. If you want to stick it out and say that both of these drivers deserve penalising, then equally we can leave it at that. I think Chonk, if you're willing to let, this is a very Michael Massey Saudi Arabia switch the cars around type deal. But basically Fade is saying that he'll go down to P3 if you want. I think that would mean that he'd lose P3 in the standings as well. So AJ's so they're saying to Chonk he can have the place back. So I think that's fair enough. He can have the place back. Okay. So I think. Okay, so they're accepting that they maybe overtook him off track. AJ Sinden, Chonk P2. Results of sprint will be amended. So basically, Fade's going to be put into P4. Strug's going to be put into P3. I think AJ, if you're watching along, I think that's how we should deal with this. So, yeah, I think we should change it. Then we'd have to review the incident. Yeah, weather was clear, so it can be clear. Well, I think it was cloudy and clear, but I can't remember. Well, I can actually check on here. It was sunny at the start, and then it was going to go cloudy toward the end. So I think that's fine. AJ, if you're watching along, I think we should move it back. So we should move that around. It should be Strug's P2, right? I don't know if it should be Strug's P2, but if Chonk P3, me P4. Okay, let's have a look at Chonk. Are you happy with that? Sorry, I'm just trying to sort out. Okay, so I'm not sure if AJ has actually made those changes or not. I'm vouching for Chonk to get P3. Let's have a quick look at the order. Weekend structure. Over time and day. We'll just see what was done, to be honest, because AJ's not done it, and they're going to ready up, and I need to hit spectate. There, I just nearly forgot to hit spectate. That would have been bad. So I'm hitting spectate. We'll see if those changes have been made, but I think we're just trying to solve it a bit Michael Massey on the slide, because we had the opportunity to reset the grid. They were speaking it out, and Fade was acknowledging. So there's no grid changes. Right, okay. So no grid changes. So, okay, Chonk, raise your instant for review. Okay, so I'm not quite sure why we didn't change the results there. I think that would have been the simpler of the options, but we'll debrief with that afterwards. 21:21 is when the race start time will be. So we have 5 minutes until the race start. Yeah, everyone should not forget their setup. Yeah. I'm going to send that message again in bold. Don't forget your setup at everyone, because some people don't forget their setup. Some people have forgot their setup in this scenario. So, okay. Let's hope that the race is not as carnageful as the sprint. 18 laps of the sprint. We had 3 safety cars, 1 VSC. It's like a 1 in 4 point something chance. No, it's like 4 in, it's too high. Too high. Every 4 laps there was a safety car. Let's say that, which is doesn't promote a lot of racing. Quite hard to commentate on as well. You just end up following your car around, waiting for them to go. But OS Degrees race was made by it, so he'll be happy with 4 safety cars. And if he can repeat that kind of form, he'll be happy with it again. So let's jump back to the Twitch stream, see if there's any messages. So, yeah, as a proud British person, I will happily read this one out. I would like to dedicate, this is from OS Degrees, I would like to dedicate the sprint race win to Princess Diana for clutching the gulag against Queen Elizabeth. Beautiful. What a beautiful, touching moment from OS there. Captain Coolwine supporting Temp this weekend. He says, "Let's go Temp," in all caps. So I presume the emphasis is, "Let's go Temp." I don't know. No exclamation mark though, which would usually go along with it. So it's hard to read that one out. Let's go Temp. Something like that. I hope you're doing you justice. And I am going to go grab a drink because I feel like there's going to be a lot of talking, and I only have a small smidgen of summer fruits left. Okay, so we have just 2 minutes until the race starts. It's going to be a clear race. Looked like there was no rain in that previous session, so we just set it to clear if there's rain. If there is rain, a chance of rain, then we just leave it on random. Obviously, if it's rain throughout, we just put it on rain. So anyway, no rain, which is different from last year's race, which started in dry conditions and transitioned to rain. Very slowly, very annoyingly slowly, I gambled on intermediates, and Didn't work out because it was only like the last lap, maybe last 2 laps where intermediates were the preferable tyre. I think 4th place wasn't too bad, but I was a bit infuriated. I think I threw away a win there. But AJ did win that race. Last time round, he will be hoping for a better result than in the sprint. And it was, of course, OS Degrees who's on pole. So let's have a quick run through that. OS Degrees on pole from Fade, from Struggs and Chunk. There's a bit of controversy around that. There'll be an instant review. I'm sure we chose not to. Well, AJ chose not to deal with it then. I was all for just getting it done with, so we didn't have to look at that instant. Afterwards, Alex Trent G, Rugriff, Alpha Integral, Borbagri in 9th place, McLeod in 10th, Wool in 11th, 12th for Geordie, AJ Essendon in 13th, 10th in 14th, 15th Captain Rainbow Fox, 16th Joker, 17th IBN, 18th Den the Pool, 19th Matusas, and 20th Fence. So I'll jump out of that so I don't get trapped in that kind of hell. And on the way to the grid, we'll have a look at their tyres and we'll get it all set up correctly. So, just a quick plea, if you're not following us, please drop us a follow. If this is your first time viewing and you don't know anything about the Discord, then look at our Discord and join it in the socials below. So, OS Degrees on pole. Let's have a look at tyre detail. On the way to the lap, we have full track map enabled. So, mediums for OS Degrees to start the race. Obviously, all the tyre usages have been reset, but it means that cars that did save a pair of mediums don't have them, effectively. I think OS Degrees, he wasn't one of them, because he certainly had mediums. Anyway, doesn't matter. It's all academic. Fade and Struggs, the championship leaders, are on hards. Chonk, in 4th position, he's on mediums. Scullable, also on mediums. Alex Trent G, he is in 6th position. Chonk has clearly had a collision with someone that has a food reset to grid. He'll have cold tyres at the start. So Alex Trent G and Rugriff, 6th and 7th, they are on softs. Alpha Integral on a pair of hards. He's in 8th position. He'll be hoping to go forwards in this race. Biff Ball Baggery right in the mix of it there on a pair of soft tyres, hoping to get a good getaway, go aggressive on those softs. McLeod, he's on the medium compound tyre, and Wool also on the medium compound tyre in 10th and 11th. Geordie in the McLaren, he is in 12th. AGS Inden, very unlucky in that last race. He is in 13th position, going aggressive on a pair of softs. 10th, 14th position. Had a collision with Fence in the sprint. He is in 14th position. Captain Rainbow Fox, he's in 15th. Joker, he's in 16th. IBN, he's in 17th on a pair of mediums. Denon Paul on a pair of softs, so Joker, I should have said that. And Matusas, 19th, he's on a pair of hards. And Fence, right at the back of the grid, he is on a pair of mediums. So, if we jump back into Spectator, let's look at positions gained. Interval is set. Let's just hope that the first shot we have of the Grand Prix is a bit better. I think Mr. Borbagri also disqualified, so he'll have our cold tyres at the start. Cars on softs, they'll be looking to pit around 8 to 12 laps. In mediums, they'll be looking 20 to 25, and hards 25 to 30. Obviously, it all changes that. Looks really janky on the formation lap when someone DSQs, because of course they ghost. But we have some formation lap rules in this time round that doesn't look like anyone didn't follow them around, to be honest. It looked like everyone was following quite nicely. Obviously, any instant reports will tell us differently. We have OS Degrees. He disqualified now. It just means that they've jumped their marks. So it doesn't mean they'll have cold tyres, but does mean they're a bit further back than the other drivers. So 1 light, 2 light, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5. And the Syndicate goes racing around Monza. It's a good start for the second Motor Williams cars of Fade. OS Degrees gets a load of wheel spin. Struggs was lucky to avoid that, but I think he hasn't completely avoided it. Alex Trent G has soared up the order 4 positions and takes the position of OS Degrees. OS Degrees now just damage limitation, settling into 3rd position. How are we looking through the first corner? Is everyone cleaning through? There's a yellow flag being waved, so I doubt we are. We have Alex Trent G now only 2 tenths behind the race leader. He goes all the way to the right. That is dramatic. And he doesn't get the move done. OS Degrees now falling into the clutches of Struggs. A poor start from OS, starting from first, getting a lot of wheel spin off the line and leaving himself open for attack from Alex and Fade. Struggs also falling a bit behind, I think having to dodge the wheel spin of Struggs. Fade had a much better start off the line, but now it's susceptible to overtake. Alex Trent G What tyres are the cars on? I think it's a pair of softs here against a pair of hards. So Alex Trenchi will be feeling extra racy, looking to the inside of Ascari. There is a spinner on the exit of the second Lesmo. It looks like it's fenced to me, and AlphaTauri is stuck just outside, but he's still running, so he's going to catch up here. Looks like we haven't had too much of an instant through the first lap. Obviously, the instant review will tell a different story, I'm sure, as we did see some yellow flags. But we have Alex Trenchi and OS Degrees right behind. He's on a pair of mediums, so he'll look to have good pace in this early part of the race. Fade is on that pair of hards, and he has set the fastest lap. But Alex Trenchi has made the move now. He's made the move. Now Alex Trenchi will want to set some really good laps, try and build this gap up as much as he can. So if there's an early safety car, he can slot in nicely and switch on to possibly a pair of hards at this stage, but that's all to see. Struggs has fallen behind massively from OS Degrees. OS Degrees also looking to go around the outside of De La Rocha. Does he get it done? I think he decides to back out of there. I think the inside was covered by Fade, so smart racing from OS Degrees. He'll live to fight another day there and maybe try and take him when the DRS is going well. There is a spinner. It looks like Wool has spun, and possibly IBM. No, it's Wool that's spun. He's falling down the order at the De La Rocha, the second chicane. He's spun and he is fallen to the back into 19th position. OS Degrees now 3 tenths behind Fade. We have Scholar Ball. He's only 2 tenths behind Chunk. Looks to the inside of Ascari. Doesn't get that move done. Cuts it a little bit maybe there, but in 6th place is Scholar Ball. He's down 1 position. Chunk is down 1 position too. They're both on the medium tyre. OS Degrees will now be looking forward to Fade. There's a spinner at Ascari, and it is IBN, I believe, who spun there. And Alex Trenchi spins from the lead of the race. He spins at Parabolica just in front of us. He spins. That is disaster for him. He'll fall all the way back. He was trying so hard to pull that gap. But now OS Degrees means that he can take the lead of the race this time round if he can stay within the DRS. Let's have a look at ERS usage. Let's look at the telemetry. OS Degrees is using third check. Fade hasn't used that much, so Fade should be able to defend a bit here. Uses the ERS wisely. OS Degrees using a lot there to try and get the move done in the early stages. I don't think Alex has got damage because he hasn't pitted, but he did spin on that final corner. Very, very unlucky. No penalty so far. A disqualification for IBN. So possibly driving behind, much like Matusas had in the sprint session. It's really, really strict around that corner. And he has been removed from the session. That will be very, very painful for him, as he didn't go too far into sprint either. His weekend is over. He'll be looking forward to next week at past Portimao, I believe. Now, OS Degrees, he's 3 tenths behind Fade. Fade, Struggs is, I don't know if he's dropping back, but he's certainly stalled about 2 seconds behind these 2 leading cars. I think OS Degrees will want to get this move done as soon as possible. He'll have DRS for the first time down the long straight. Let's see if Fade has enough to defend it. There's a spinner. It looks like Matusas has spun at the Ascari chicane. That's a really tricky chicane. Lots of people caught out. OS Degrees, fastest lap of the race. That was beaten by Chunk. OS Degrees going up the inside at the Retophilia chicane. Can he do enough to keep this clean? And they look to go side by side. I think it's just enough from Fade to stay ahead. But is it? I think OS Degrees has got a better drive out into Curva Grande. Up the inside he'll go. And this is a shorter way round, and he'll have to move done, surely. But the inside just still poking in there, Fade. And he does decide to go for it up the inside. But, good racing from those two, leaving each other a lot of space. I think OS Degrees was maybe just ahead of Fade, could have covered off that inside, but did not want to risk it. And good racing from these two, but that leaves them vulnerable. Chonk has overtook Struggs behind. And there's another spin. I think it's Joker. Oh, no, it was possibly Geordie and Warbaggery who have spun at De La Rocha. Must be some contact. OS Degrees looks like he's got by Fade down to Ascari. So Fade must have had a poor exit down in the Lesbos and just losing so much time on the exit of Ascari, having a little bit of a moment clearly. And now that puts him under pressure from Chonk. Chonk obviously had that fight with them in the last race. He'll be meaning business, and he gets it done into Parabolica. But that will mean that Chonk has no DRS, and Fade will have DRS. And look who's just behind the championship leader of Struggs, and Scholar Bull just behind that too. It's all heating up at the front here. This battle for second position at the moment is absolutely fiery. Chonk looks like he hasn't got DRS from the car in front. and that means Fade is dropped in front. I think Chunk will just try and take some of the slipstream from Fade there to defend from Strugs. Just keep behind, but it looks like Chonk is going to take this position. Of course, Chonk and OS are much nicer yellow compound tyres at this stage of the race, but that means later on in the race, the hard tyres can be ditched for those other two drivers, and they will have better tyres at the end of the race. Both drivers opting for that hard to medium strategy. And Fade now defending from Chonk. OS Degrees can go and build a gap up in front. The winner of the sprint race, as there is a spin from Wool, I believe, at Parabolica. Yes, it was Wool who spun at Parabolica. And Mr. Rolbagger's teammates in the pits having a woeful weekend here. Chonk closing down Fade. He won't have the pace here to make a move into a scar, you think. Let's believe that's the case, because that is too far away, and that is too far away. Chonk knows that. And he just takes as much curb on the inside, but very, very untidy through the middle section of that track. And that leaves him absolutely open to attack from Strugs behind. He hasn't fallen a second behind Fade in front, so he will get DOS down the main straight. But around the Parabolica, he was under pressure there, and he overcooked it a little bit. I think the DOS will save him, but Strugs will certainly fancy a move. Strugs is never scared of an overtake. Obviously, Strugs, the championship leader, knows that he's just got to stay in the race, stay long. And Scholar Bull has just gone by, much better pace out there. I think maybe Strugs, looking forward, has lost a position. And both Alfa Romeo and Mercedes go deep there. And Strugs just leaving him enough space, and there is a safety car. There's a full safety car out. At this moment, there is a full safety car. I wonder why that is. We still have 19 runners with a disqualified IBN. Mr. Borbago getting a 3-second time penalty for cutting corner through Ascari. He is well down in the field, though. Let's have a look at the gains loser the opening part of the race. So, Chonk up in position, Skull up in position, Alpha Integral up 2 positions, AGS Inter up 6 positions. What a time he's had. I haven't followed him too much in the races, to be honest, since he's fallen behind, but AGS Inter up 6 positions. He started in 13th or 12th position, possibly. 10 also up 6 positions after having a bit of a bad moment in the sprint, colliding with Fence and dropping him all the way to the back. So he started in 14th, I believe. Woodgriff down 2 positions. Not great from him. Dead in the pool up 7 positions. He's steadily been making progress on the softs, though, and I think all of those cars that have made that really steady positions are on softs, except from Alpha Integral, who's one of the only other cars to be on hard at this stage of the race. Mr. Borbago's got a drive through. It's not going top bin to him, I must say. Had a good race out last time at Zandvoort. I think finished 7th or 8th. Good form from Kev, but he's just fallen quite far behind already here. And to be honest, that drive through, well, obviously he'll have to serve it after the safety car, but he'll fall to the back of the grid and hope for another safety car. There is quite a number of cars in the pits here. Let's switch to the tyres detail to see what people have gone on. So Denham Poole has gone onto a pair of hards, Joker onto a pair of softs, Alex Trent G onto a pair of mediums. He was leading the race in the early stages and had that moment through Parabolica, overheating his tyres possibly, and that has cost him greatly, really. He's now at the back. Who else do we have? OS Degrees on a pair of mediums out front. He'll be frustrated, actually, because OS Degrees had built a little bit of a gap there, 1 or 2 seconds over the chasing pack on those mediums, and the more safety cars, really, the more it actually hurts those medium runners, because later on, those hard runners will be able to put on a pair of mediums and have the faster tyre in the later stages of the race. So on lap 77 of 53, not 70, Christ alive, that would be a loss of Monza. As lap 7 of 53, and safety car won't be in this lap, possibly won't be in the lap next time round. Chonk said he got banged at T1 by a hat. I think that meant something completely different at my school to what you propose it does. So OS Degrees, a good start from him. Well, actually a bad start off the line. I think Strugs got a little bit tangled in it and they dropped that. And that's why Strugs is down in 5th position, quite lowly. But 5th position is still 5 for him. He's battling Fade in the championship. and I'd be lose about 5 points over the weekend, 6 points over the weekend. If they finish like they do now, they're not going to finish like they do now. It's 8 laps into a 53 lap race. We shall see the safety car in, if not this lap, then the next lap. Hey Crab, you got some sound glitch going on. Yeah, so I will ride off board. Thanks for telling me that. Basically, it's not. I'm on the Series X, but if you ride on board, I'm just so used to it now as a spectator. But the engines kind of oscillate really weirdly at high revs and don't actually act like normal. So I usually go off board, but obviously when the off board goes on board, then you're gonna hear that. So it should sound a bit better now. But thanks for letting me know, Stealth Shot. Chomp saying I was sandwiched too, so I had nowhere to go. Again, that meant something completely different in my school. To what you mean it to be. The sound issue is on the stream, Crab. Okay, what kind of sound issue is it? Some noise. Some noise. Let me listen in. Okay. Okay. What the hell's that noise? Yeah. Well, I've just muted my mic to see if that clears it. Yeah, it was a mic. Right, okay, I restarted my mic and it fixed it. So I have no idea what that was. Thanks for telling me that. Luckily, that happened in the safety car period. Hopefully, it didn't happen earlier. That would have been really annoying. I don't really monitor my my input because I can't. It's weird how it says 0 followers as well, because we have more followers than that. We have 36 followers. I don't know why it's saying 0 followers. I am moving away from Streamlabs very soon. Very soon. I already have the Elgato. I'm just waiting to get my stream setup as a bit more refined before I switch to it. So yeah, thanks for that. I don't know how long was that for? If anyone's watching, was it a long time? It started on like lap 2. You were good in the sprint. Okay. Well, that's annoying that there's like 5 laps or 6 laps, 7 laps, 8 laps, whatever it is, 7 laps of it. That was really annoying. But just give me a shout if that happens again, and I will turn my headset on and off. So, let's go back to the racing. And we have the safety car in this lap, so let's ride on board with OS Degrees. He will have Fade trying to make every little bit of time. So running about 110 kilometers an hour, 100 kilometers an hour, steadying, nice, letting the safety car go. This is what we like to see. And cars behind can follow at a consistent pace. I think AJ and Alpha and Tech will have had a bit of a crash there, the two teammates. So that will be frustrating for those two. Interesting what he got that for, but I think that 5 seconds will be cleared at a pit stop, and AJ is yet to pit. Surprising, really. I think they only do about 10 laps those offs in my book, but we'll see. And OS just waiting, and he's gone. He is gone. On the exit of Parabolica, good restart, dropping time there from Fade. I think Fade's been caught a little bit unawares there, and Fade using EOS equally to try and close down that gap, but a good gap has been built there. Now Chonk will be looking to go forward. It's always good at the safety car restarts. And always good at safety car restarts. Has he closed down the gap? Fence looks like he's done a position on Alex Trent G through that opening corner. Obviously, I can't check every single place, but I do try to keep a look at the timing tower to see where the gaps are. And I think AJS Inden is close behind Alpha Integral, only 2 tenths behind. Chonk also close up front into the Lesmos. There won't be a position gain there, but will Chonk be looking down the run to Ascari on that better compound tyres, all bit squirrely out of the second Lesmo, and that cost him a little bit of time. You won't be going for a move here, but AJS Inden on those soft tyres, looking racy behind his teammate. Is his teammate going to let him go through? Or is there going to be no team orders? I'm not sure. His Tango or Alpha Integral is on mic with AJ. So we'll see if those two work together or they just go forward together. But they did crash under safety car, which gave him a 5-second penalty. That's AJ Syndicate got the 5-second penalty. So Chunk now 4 tenths behind Fade. Fade struggling to keep up with those medium compound tyres and setting the fastest lap of the Grand Prix to boot. There is a spinner. It is 10th. No, it's Den the Pool who spun at Parabolica. That will be disappointing for him, but Chonk is now only half a tenth behind Fade. Scholar Bull only a couple of tenths behind him, much better through Vetophilia. And there is a Haas, I shouldn't laugh, that spun at Sky. I think I've said that about 7 times. I think that's the drinking game today. If I say there's a Haas that spun at Sky, then you take a shot. Okay, so Skull is right behind Chunk. We'll follow on board here as we go off board. Let's follow on board through the second Lesmo, first Lesmo, into the second Lesmo. Ooh, a bit all over the place on the exit there. Really hard to get the power down, especially with some low wing setups. That Monza requires so much of it on throttle that you require a low wing setup, but that means that it's so difficult to maintain traction through the opening, through the tight corners such as the Lesmos, which are so unlike all the other corners on the track. Through a Sky, though, Scholar Ball has a lot better run than Chunk, but out there, he's just touched a little bit of inside curb, and a little bit too much inside curb, and that makes him all over the place, but he managed to keep the power down, he managed to keep his pace through there. Strug 7 tenths behind, didn't gain on him, so he'll be all over Chunk here. Chunk must have had an even slower run through Ascari, and now Scholar Ball will be looking and thinking, I can take this position here. He goes to the outside, Chunk covers the inside, on the run down to Vetophilia, one of the fastest braking zones on the calendar. And Scholar Bull gets the move done. Around the outside, it was done by the braking zone. Onto the brakes was Chunk just falling in behind. So good for him. But now that's good for Fade as well. He gets to let them battle and doesn't have to focus too much on him, on that, just keeping second position. That'd be good for him. There's a spin at the Lesmo. Wolves almost lapped. Scholar Bull. He is just 7 tenths behind Fade. Where's AJ Sinden? Oh, Strux has... Was it Strux? Strux has spun. Strux is out of the race. We just went on board as he was spinning out of the second Lesmo. There's another safety car. And Strux, our championship leader, is out of the race. It's his first retirement of the season. And he will be gutted with that out of the exit of Lesmo. I was just cutting through, and I saw the purple helmet sideways. And I thought, this has gone badly wrong. This is not what I searched for. Oh, dear for Strux. That is absolute pain for him. He'll still have a championship lead at the end no matter what. But this is now an open goal for Fate to claim back some ground on his teammates and for all the other runners. I mean, we have people quite far back, but Strux, if he got 25 points here, he'd be looking at somewhere around 137 points, I think, which would put him only, 10 or so behind where Struggs is. Sorry, so Struggs, I believe he got 3rd position or 4th position in that last race. So he'll only be 5 or 10 points if Fade can win, but he doesn't win. We have a full safety car out, and that saves. I think that saves Wool's bacon. No, it doesn't. Wool is out of the race. He is a DNF. He's also a crasher. So DNF has happened for Wool there while I was getting very excited about Struggs' DNF. And by excited, I mean, just animated. Oh, my Lord, that was a tricky thing. So what I was saying there earlier, you run 0-0 wings, but it means that you have to be so delicate through those Lesmo corners and through Ascari especially, because they're quite high-speed corners. You need to carry quite a lot of pace into them. But because of that, you're really kind of unsettled at the rear, and it can be quite lethal, as we've seen for Struggs. And lethal sounds like he's died. Fatal sounds like he's died. It can be tricky. Yeah, it can be really tricky, and that has cost Struggs. He is out of this race and will not be scoring points. He scored maybe 4 points, 5 points in the pits. Wolves had retired in the pits, had rear wing damage, causing me lots of issues. Right, okay, that would make sense, as you were spinning a fair amount there, so that would make sense, that rear wing damage. Again, rear wing damage, you got even less downforce at the back. If you're running a low wing setup, it's a nightmare, and you should be running a low wing setup around here. So, does anyone pit? That's the important question. I think a couple of cars have pitted. So AJ Sinden, he has pitted. He's gone onto the medium tyres. He started on softs. An opportune time for him to pit there, but I'm not sure why he didn't pit earlier, to be honest. Because he's, I mean, mediums will go quite long now, and he'll be able to do another soft stint at the end. I don't think mediums will get to the end, but he will be able to do a soft stint. If there's a late safety car, that would be opportune for him. I think about myself, 20 to 25 laps on the mediums. I don't know if I'm a bit off there, but that's what I'd expect from myself. And about 35 laps on the hards, something like that. Up to 35. AJ Senden's gone to pits. We have Mr. Bob Bagley. He's gone onto a pair of pits. He was at the back anyway. He's gone onto a pair of hards. I think it's the first time on those hards. We also have... that's it for stoppers. So we had... Oh, Rugriff looks like he stopped as well. He's stopped. He's had 2-lap old mediums. And Temp has also stopped. He's on 1-lap old softs. Yeah, that's it. So that's it for stoppers. Alex Trent G and Joker, they pitted under the last safety car, I believe. So Joker's on 7-lap old softs. He'll have to pit again fairly soon. Alex Trent G, he's on 7-lap old mediums. OS Degrees. It'll be frustrating. This is part of the reason why it's so good to get the hard tyre out of the way, because if you can just stay around in the front, then it's fair play. You can just get through it. But obviously, Struggs had a bit of an issue there, and he started on the hards, got 11 laps on them, but that heavy fuel load, the lack of wing has caught him out, and uncharacteristic mistake, would have to say, has cost him there. But Struggs is out of the race. He's won, I think, 4 of the 6 races this year. Yeah, 4 to 6, because Fade has won 1, and so has Struggs. So has Matusas. Matusas won in Australia, coming back from 17th on the grid to win the race in the closing laps. So Fade will be happy with this. He'll be licking his lips. He'll be delighted. Struggs, I think, had to get off early anyway, so at least he can get off early. And Skull the Bull is going to be looking forward. So you're looking at people who can really benefit from this. I mean, it's not impossible for OS Degrees, Matusas, Skull the Bull, AJ to catch up to Struggs, but they are, 80 to 90 points behind. So they'd have to start winning and Struggs to come on some really bad luck. It's Fade who's closest on 102 points to 137 points before this round. And I think Fade is the closest in a championship. I don't think he's take the championship lead, even if he won this race, but he could certainly make a big dent in that lead. And Struggs has gone from being able to DNF in a race and well, I'm not going to say that yet, because Fade could still come unstuck. Let's see how this race runs out. But Fade now should just be focusing on picking up good points on his teammate. Now, safety car is in this lap. OS Degrees knows how to restart a lap, so let's ride on board with him as he keeps it quite consistent through here. Car's keeping a nice gap, and the Lee's car now has responsibility for the racing pack behind. Where will he go now? Last time he went just as Parabolica starts to unwind into the straight. So he went a little bit earlier than Spade or Struggs was going. No, it was Fence. I can't remember. In the sprint. Whoever was leading the sprint for ages. He went a little bit earlier than those two did. So, let's have a look. You don't want to go too early, because that means you have to brake again. But he goes now. So it gets a good drop on Fade, a very good drop. 4 tenths, 5 tenths. That gap grows. But Skull will be right behind Fade. It's always very tricky to be the person in second place. With safety car restart, Skull the Bull only 2 tenths behind. Chunk only 2 tenths behind that. Looking to the inside, he brakes early though. Nice to see him. Skull the Bull does not brake early. Little tap from Fade from behind. And I think they get away with that. I think he knows he should concede position there. But that allows OS Degrees to run away there. He's lost maybe a second through that corner just because of that love tap. Skull the Bull slightly out braking himself. And Chonk is right up the inside here. And Oh, just a bit of desync. I think he was actually a little further behind than I thought he was there, but he's looking to the inside of Lesmo too. Can he get it done there? It's a really tricky place to fight. I think Chonk, again, battles out of that one. Uncharacteristic almost, but picking his fights nicely. And he knows he has the pace on Scalable, has a lot more confidence at the moment on those tyres, and will fight down to Ascari, using a bit of ERS, pushing. It's 2 tenths the gap. And is he close enough? No, he's not, but he will line him up through Ascari. Chonk struggled through here, I must say, but yeah, not the most perfect exit, but good enough. 2 tenths behind, and he'll push as hard as he can on the run down to Parabolica. Now, this has allowed Fade to escape the clutch and Skull a little bit, this fighting. And Chunk, just gets out a bit wrong. Brakes really late. Maybe he makes the smallest amount of contact with Skull Ball there. And he will have a run, but he has to use a lot of ERS to make up that ground. And I think Skull Ball knows that. Knows that he can probably defend the inside here. But Chunk looking for the inside all over the place there. Bit of desync, and he does not get the move done. Skull has to go deep, sit on the corner apex, lose more time to Fade. Fade will be loving these two battling just behind, and maybe he should think, let's just let him go and let's work together. But that's not what's going on here. They're fighting tooth and nail on lap 17 for every inch of this tarmac. AGS Indent is right at the back. He's gone onto another pair of softs, so must have pitted, must have been involved in some kind of incident. Mr. Bagri has also pitted again. He's on a pair of softs as well, 0 laps, so they haven't been involved in a kind of incident. That would be frustrating for AJ. He's only just popped on that pair of mediums, now he's on a pair of softs. He'll be having another safety car. Chonk losing it a little bit on the Lesmo too, not fully bringing it into the wall, but Alpha Integral, look who's just behind. Chonk has a penalty of some kind. What is Chonk's penalty? Chonk has a 3-second penalty for corner cutting. So, we're coming almost to the distance of the sprint. 17 laps in, it hardly feels like it. It feels a lot quicker because of the amount of safety cars. But Alpha Integral now closing out Mascari. And Chonk has used so much ERS that he has run out of ERS basically to defend that. And McLeod is now the car behind Chonk. Chonk putting so much better pressure on Skull the Bull that actually he didn't get the job done, and maybe it would have been better just to allow Skull the Bull to fight in front. So I said he was picking his battles, but he wasn't completely picking them. He's using up a lot of ERS there. He'd have to do a bit of conservation. And Alpha Integral is slowly cruising through the front here, joining this lead battle on a pair of hards, on equal strategy to Fade, only 2 seconds behind Fade as well. So a good race from this Red Bull driver. Obviously contrasting fortunes with AJ at the back. Let's ride a ball with AJ for a little bit. He is struggling, I think, with form, and just hasn't had the rub of the green here. I don't know if he was involved in a collision or breaking front wings or what happened to him, but he has fallen far behind. Skull the Bull now is only 8 tenths behind Fade, so coming down the run to the Ascari, he will get DRS, the activation zone. The detection zone is just there, and the activation zone is just here after the Lesmo, as we pass under the famous banking at Monza, and we have a yellow flag somewhere out in the field, sector 2. It's at Lesmo 2. So through here, he's just got a lot more confidence on those medium tyres. Runs a little bit wide. Hopefully that wasn't a warning for him. But this Alfa Romeo will Skull the Bull. His full-time drive, he's closing on Fade, and can he make a move? Skull the Bull, who had a little bit of contact just at the opening moments of the last safety car restart, and that cost Fade that little bit of time that had they have lost OS degrees, they kind of stabilised that gap to the front. But Skull the Bull will have DRS down this long straight. I think Alpha Integral also has DRS, so Alpha Integral making up ground on Skull the Bull to boot, and I think he'll just allow Skull the Bull to battle Fade as long as possible before recharging some of that ERS, get into that DRS gap and let Skull the Bull take the fight to Fade. OS degrees having nice time leading this race. He's got some superb form here. It's the right place for him to be leading a race. His home race, the Ferrari around Italy, leading a race and not taking a stupid pit under the safety car. A VSC to go onto a weird 2-stop track here. 122 from AJS Indian, fastest lap of the race, and Skull the Bull, one of the first cars in this leading quadruple, let's say, to get a penalty. Obviously Chonk just behind. He's falling behind. I think he's overworked his tyres and having to save up a lot of ERS. He's also got a penalty, 3 seconds. Alpha Integral through Ascari. Looks like he's got a bit of a better run than Skull. Skull's running wide again through there. These penalties can really start to mount. You should just kind of keep a cool head as much as possible. OS Degrees keeping a very cool head out in front, as well as Fade. They are not getting drawn into the battles behind. And Alpha Integral now needs to get this done. Scullable does not have DRS. So Alpha Integral needs to get this done as early as possible. And he's closing at a rate of knots. 3 attempts now. And now it's only 2 attempts. I think he'll be able to look to the inside. Scullable isn't defending this too much. He knows that, he is defending it around the outside. He is trying to keep it pinned. And I think he got a better drive through the corner. But on the exit, who got a better drive? It becomes a bit of a race. The inside becomes the better line here. I think Scullable knows that and has just dropped out. And I don't think he'll be fighting that too hard to go back at him. Yeah, so Alpha Integral gets the move done. Let's see what Alpha Integral can do to close down that gap. That gap's going to 2 seconds to Fade in front. Just under 2 seconds now. And 2 seconds is the gap from Fade to OS Degrees. Obviously, Fade and Alpha Integral are on the hard compound tyres, where the cars around them are on the medium compound. And those medium compound tyres is worth quite a few temps. So, we have McLeod. He's doing well. He's in 5th position. Chonk, actually, McLeod must have got Chonk, because Chonk has fallen behind a little bit more here. It must have been a mistake from Chonk. Captain Rainbow Fox, where has he been lurking? Under some kind of dark rock, and now he's got the powers to go and help his teammate out front. Only about 10 seconds or so down on his teammate at the moment, in 7th position. Quiet race, but consistent nonetheless on that hard tyre compound, so he'll have pace at the end. Matusas also on a pair of hards. He'll have pace at the end too, and he's been quietly working away. Temp does have a penalty of some kind. Let's see what that penalty is. That penalty is a 3-second time penalty, 6-second time penalty for Kev already. He is on a pair of softs in that Aston Martin. He'll be hoping for a safety car soon, so he doesn't lose too much time at the stops. But Alpha Integral hasn't closed down the gap to Fade. Actually, it's grown by about 3 or 4 attempts over those last 2 sectors. And Scullable is now the car behind, closing in on this 3rd position. And it's been a bit of a switcheroo. Chonk was there, Skull was there, Chonk was there, Alpha was there, and Fade and OS Degrees have just let the cars behind him battle. But Alpha Integral seems to be closing that gap a little bit. It's just fluctuating up and down. I think it can go up and down 5 tenths for a while. That's a pretty stable gap. And Alpha Integral doing everything in his power to actually close that gap, while Fade is just defending that ERS a little bit. Now, Scullable has quite a lot of ERS, but a poor line through the sky again takes him out of DRS, so he's going to have to use a lot to dip back under that line. Does he get it done? He is still over a second. I don't think he'll get DRS here, so you have to use a bit of ERS to get the DRS, and he still didn't do it. So I don't think this will flick open. There is a spun Kev in the Haas at De La Roggia. Hopefully that doesn't cause any kind of safety car. It doesn't look like it has. AJ Sinden has fallen down the order again. He's down in 17th position, and actually he's in danger of being lapped here. This could be shocking for his race. He's looking for a safety car right now. I think he's going to get lapped. This will be the end of his race, if he does though, surely, because he should be getting out of the way pretty promptly here. He's about to get lapped by our race leader, OS Degrees. OS Degrees will want AJ to get out of the way as soon as possible, because actually it's slowing down OS Degrees. He's now lost a second to Fade, and it's going to be a penalty for AJ if he doesn't get out of the way soon. Blue flags are certainly being waved, and he hasn't got out of the way. And it'll be extra insult to injury if he gets out of the way for both. And he doesn't get out of the way, but a safety car does come out. So I think his blush has been saved there. I think he went a bit too long without getting out of the way of AJS. So Borbagley has crashed at the Parabolica. He should be on the outside of Parabolica as we come to this corner. Cars should be cautious through here. He has despawned now, so not a problem. His track has been cleared from the racing line. And AJ Sinden won't pit, but OS Degrees does look to pit. He does look to pit. Does other cars pit? Of course, the hard tyres don't pit. Scullable does pit. He's also on a medium tyre. McLeod, is he looking to pit? He is. And Chonk, his teammate behind, is going to get slowed down here by McLeod, but McLeod, being the lead car, gets preferential treatment. Fox also coming to pit. Surprising, on the hard tyres. All these cars looking to pit, get the job done. And maybe, I think, Captain Raven Fox thinks, yeah, I can take medium to the end. Maybe he'll go for a pair of softs or something like that. No, it's a pair of mediums for Captain Rainbow Fox, and it's a pair of softs for Matusas. A punchy choice from Matusas. And actually, Captain Rainbow Fox loses a place in the Matusas through the pit stops. Obviously, a slower pit stop for Fox, maybe being caught up by some traffic. Den Lapoule on a pair of hards. He is now up to third position, and he'll be able to go longer than the cars in front. Geordie also up into fourth position. It's all switches around, doesn't it? In a moment's case, these cars that are pushing at the front of the track can all just suddenly fall off. OS Degrees is obviously net first. Let's say he's net first because he has pitted for a pair of hards, and this is a good time for a pair of hards in a safety car, to be honest. Matusas onto a pair of softs. You have to think that was maybe a mistake because he was on a pair of hards, so had a pair of mediums to go onto. Now I don't know if a medium can make 30 laps. But certainly, a medium could make 20 laps, and then luckily, hope for a safety car near the end, and ditch them for a pair of softs at the end, and that's a decent strategy, I would presume. You have to say Chonk is the big loser in all that. He was running just behind his teammate, but obviously being caught up with the double stack and further caught up in the pit lane has dropped him down into 12th position. AGS Inden, will he pit? No, he doesn't pit, so he's happy on those mediums. Again, I don't think they'll get to the end, but I think they'll do a decent job. So 23 off 53 laps into this safety car period. We're riding on board with AGS Inden, who is, of course, closing up on the safety car. And he's gone to lap 24. So on lap 24, I don't think the safety car will be in this lap. I think he'll be in the lap after. Obviously, the longer this safety car stays out, the better. For everyone, I don't know. For the medium runners, they'll get 3 laps where they don't have to push their tyres as hard. For the hard runners, it's not great, but you can presume there's going to be another safety car. There's only 4 cars out so far. Those being Kev in the Haas, Struggs in the Williams, Wool 123 in the Haas, a bad weekend for the Haas team, I must say, and IBN disqualified early doors for driving the wrong way on the track. I don't think he was doing something reckless. I think it's just overzealous gatekeeping from the game. He can't spin around, and it's difficult when that happens. So I think end of this next lap, safety car will be in. Someone has followed me. Midpoint 21 has followed. Thank you very much, Midpoint. Appreciate that. Didn't hear that because I didn't have my PC sound on, but I do now. Give us a shout out, Midpoint, if you're in the Discord. Let us know what your name in the Discord is. We have 37 followers. Ignore the 0 followers line. Streamlabs is just all over the place tonight. We are moving away from Streamlabs as soon as possible, I'd hope. But yeah, we have more followers than 0. We have 37 followers. Looking for 50 followers for the affiliate thing. I don't know what goodness will come out of that, but looking to push for that as part of a Twitch goal. If you're not part of the Discord, if you're watching somehow, just followed, invited by a friend, and you're interested in racing on F122, we have casual lobbies. I say most nights, it's been all nights recently. Casual lobbies on Monday to Friday. Friday we're looking to set up a secondary 50% race league, the SRL-50. Saturday nights we have quite a lot of lobbies as well, and the SRL-100, which you're watching now, the round 7 of it. This is this is our kind of league that we've had for 2 seasons. This is the 2nd season, and Fade is now in control of the restart. Let's see how Fade does this restart. So safety car is in this lap. Let's see what speed he keeps us at. I think it's Chonk who did the restarts in the sprint. I seem to remember, because he was going about 90 miles an hour. 90 kilometers an hour, even. So a bit faster for me, about 125 he's averaging. And just trying to keep consistent pace. Alpha Integral will, of course, be all over him. Let's go on board with Fade and watch and make sure he follows the one clear restart rule once the safety car is heading into the pits. And, of course, the lights are off on it in a moment, but it's at pit entry now, so I think any time around now, obviously they'll have the resume racing banner, which will confirm that it's time to go racing. And he puts the foot down now. So usually you can tell when you go EOS, that's them putting the foot down. But Alpha Integral, almost like Max Verstappen, shark-like, right on the ball. And he is closing. Will he go for a move into Retophilia? He looks up the inside. Is he going to get the move done? No, I don't think he's got it done on the brakes, but Fade has to go deep to defend that one. Does he have a bit of a poor run through there? No, he doesn't. What happens down the pack? Let's have a look. Did he make it through there all safe and sound? It looks pretty cozy to me. We have OS Degrees only a tenth behind Geordie, making the move, going up on those better hard tyres. Only 3 lap all those hard tyres. OS Degrees will just be looking to make ground steadily as he is on the net leader of this race. If there was no more safety cars, then it would leave Fade, Alpha Integral, dead in the pool, and Ruger a hell of a lot to do on those tyres. And after they change for a different pair of tyres, now Alpha Integral not battling too much, knows they need to get the pace down, and Fade looks to pull a nice little gap here. Dead in the pool, only 3 tenths behind. I wonder if Dead in the pool will feel like he shouldn't battle too much. No, he looks like he's closing. He's closing, but he's not going to have a position down into Ascari. Oh, hello, Midpoints. I haven't recognised your name, but Midpoints from in the Discord too. So, hello to you. Thanks for following. And Dead and Pool is closing up on Alpha Integral. Alpha Integral closing up on Fade, having a little jig to the inside, looking whether he's going to overtake. And OS Degrees has made a place up on Rugriff into the Parabolica. Rugriff falling down. Scholar Bull also making a place up on Geordie. So OS Degrees making a good move here, and he's already back into the lead battle of this race, and he's pitted for these hard tyres, which will take him to the end of the race. Then the pool having a look, Alpha Integral having a look. These cars, if they battle too hard, they're going to be losing positions 2 cars behind. OS Degrees now knows that I can just wait here. I'm net first. As long as I don't spin off, as long as I don't do anything stupid, I have a race lead here. And if there's another safety car, I'm sure we'll see these front 3 runners pit, surely. And Rugriff in 5th. But a big back lock-up of brakes there. Similar to Nick de Vries in qualifying yesterday. He snatched the back end. And that means Dead in the Pool is trying to go around the outside at Lesmo 2. And OS Degrees just behind. He doesn't want to get involved too much with that. Where is he? He doesn't want to get involved too much, but I also want to try and catch up to Fade in front, make sure that gap doesn't grow too big, but I think he's wisely just backed out of that. Used a lot of ERS already, and on the run down to Ascari, doesn't have a position to make a move, but Dead in the Pool is now up into 2nd position. He has slightly better hard sending the cars around him, but will certainly have to pit again. I mean, he could theoretically go to the end, but won't have the pace over cars like OS Degrees and Scholar Bull, who's now battling through the field. And OS Degrees will have to kind of get the move done quickly because Scholar Bull is keeping him company up at the front. Shonk not making the progress he desired, neither has McLeod. But they've still got long to go. They're still in maybe 4th or 6th position after the pit stops. We have Alpha Integral going to the right, going to the left, trying to get the move done. Does he make a place on Dead and Pool? He does. This battling is not helping OS Degrees, or is it helping OS Degrees? He is. So he goes for a move around the outside of Dead in the Pool. Is he going to be daring and try and go for a move around the outside of Alpha Integral? He gets up in the 3rd position, our net race leader, and will he be able to get 2nd place? No, he won't. As they head through Delaroche, he'll just try and take it nice and simple, can maintain position. But that leaves Alpha Integral absolutely set up to lose a position here. OS Degrees just needs to keep calm, keep his head. Fade pulling away a little bit at the front, but Fade still yet to pit. So is Alpha Integral. OS Degrees in the net lead of the race. We have a car falling backwards. McLeod. It is McLeod falling backwards. That's disastrous for him. Matusas has just gained a place on Rugriff. Matusas very punchy on a pair of mediums. Alpha Integral and Alpha Integral has just hit OS Degrees off. And he spun himself out for good measure. That was painful. There's more carnage. Geordie is also off the track with a spin with Captain Rainbow Fox. They've gone from 0 to heroes. I think OS Degrees is still in a good position here, but oh lord, that will be painful for OS. He had nothing to blame for that, and that may be a big penalty coming Alpha Integral's way. Completely misjudged that braking zone, caught OS Degrees, and now OS Degrees who was looking so promising in that first position spot, net first position, is now lowly 10th on the road, and Skull the Bull up into 6th position, working with his teammate. I'm sure Fade has pulled a bit of a gap at the front, and now Skull the Bull has the lead of this race. After pit stops are being taken in place, Fade obviously is leading the race on the road, 28 laps, and he'll be happy. I mean, he's got a 3.5 second gap. I think OS Degrees will be furious with that. He's still on the road. Captain Mainford going for a pit. Sector 2, there's a yellow flag through Delarogia, presumably. Let's go on board with OS Degrees and see who it is. I think Fence and Joker have come and stuck with each other. So OS Degrees gains a few places, but now he has to get past Joker. And Joker has the same tyres as him. So does Temp, so does Chonk, and so does Skull the Bull in front of him. Those cars will certainly not have to pit to get pit again. Rugriff will be struggling to get to the end on those tyres, and so will Dead in the Pool, so they will probably have to pit again. The Fence is disqualified for parking in a dangerous location, so I think he'd stopped his car, and another disqualification. There's 2 disqualifieds in this race, both AlphaTauris. Not a good weekend for them. Oh dear, OS Degrees, I do feel sorry for him. He's been racing so well, but it's still a long way to go. Still 23 laps left, and he's still in a good position. If there's no more safety cars, they're still in a good position to pick up good points. And Fade will just try to bridge that gap. Skull will just try to maintain that gap at 3 seconds. He'd be quite happy with that going through. Fade will be looking for some kind of safety car at this race distance and do the final remaining 23 laps on a pair of mediums, a distance they can certainly go on to. Then the pool will maybe also thinking pit onto a pair of mediums if that's the way he wants to go with it. But you have to feel sorry for OS Degrees. Has done everything right, and it's not an incident that he was involved in per se. It looks like Alpha Integral just outbroke himself. You have to be so careful piecing your way back through the pack. ATS England has been through the pits for another pair of softs. He's on a 17 stop strategy by the looks of things. Captain Rainbow Fox involved in a secondary incident with Geordie, I believe, or maybe Alex Trent G, and at Ascari. So it was 2 Ferraris off. And it looks like OS Degrees has got by Joker. So OS Degrees up into a 7th position. And he will be, I think, 4th on the road if the 3 cars of Fade, Dead in the Pool, and Rugriff take further pit stops. Rugriff certainly will have to. Fade will certainly have to. Dead in the Pool may be able to run long on those hards, but I think if a safety car came up, he would be switching onto a pair of mediums, or possibly softs at this race distance. Fade will run as long as possible. I think the softs can realistically go about 10 laps, 12 laps before the rims start to fall off them. So frustrating. So, where are the battles? Matusas and Joker battling. Joker's gone off the track, has he? No, Matusas has gone off the track. So Matusas has fallen down here. He's putting some pressure on OS Degrees, and he's fallen down. Those softs start to get a bit past it at lap 8, and that's where he is. He's on 8 laps of it, so he's getting a bit past it. And oh my god, almost crashes into his teammate. That would have sent alarm bells ringing in his head when he has that much overspeed compared to his teammate into the braking zone of Delarogia, and they're into the 2 right-hand corners, 90-degree corners of the Lesmos. And those 2 boys not running too badly, I must say, but Matusas going to have to pit again off those softs. He'll be looking for a safety car soon to help his strategy come alive. OS Degrees slowly making his way up on the cars around him, 2 seconds behind Temp now. And Skull the Bull 3 seconds behind Fade. Skull the Bull in a very, very good position here. Skull, if Fade pitted, he'd be down somewhere around 10th position, I reckon, 10th or 11th position where Alpha Integral is. Alpha Integral obviously still needs to pit, but he'd be down maybe into 8th position once all cars are stopped, Fade. So he's just waiting for a safety car now. He's just goal hanging for a safety car, as I like to call it. And Skull the Bull is happily finding his time in 2nd place. OS Degrees probably was his main threat on the same strategy as him, and he has fallen way behind. Temp making up good ground. Of course, Temp had great pace in the sprint, but difficulty after making contact with Fence. Let's have a quick look at the penalty situation. Actually, Temp goes for a nice move into the Lesmo, washes out a little bit, but he does get the move done. but will lose DRS into here. So he gets the move done, but could come straight under siege from Chonk straight away. And he's coming. He is going to go for it as we ride off board. Look at that. Chonk's gone straight up the inside and says, you're not having that place that easily. No way. And it's very hard to overtake through there, but both of those drivers do a good job of it. Exit Ascari nicely. And now Temp will have a nice run on Chonk, but he'll probably hold off a little bit because if he stays behind, he gets the DRS for the main straight. Chonk goes to cover the inside a little bit, defending that more than I thought he would do. And it's another one of these fish helmet people. And he's already overtook him outside of Parabolica. Does he have DRS to boot? He does. He has the move done. Chonk really, really struggling. I wonder if he's got some kind of damage at this point of the race. But Chonk right behind isn't giving away anything easily. Look where OS Degrees is. OS Degrees, so much pace. He's already just behind Chonk. A little bit of a sideways action out of Vetapedia. But he will be looking at that battle in front and think, take each other out, and don't take me out. Because that is a 3-2 spots, and then he'd be back into the battle with the leaders. Obviously a little bit further behind, maybe 14 seconds behind the leaders. But Scholar Bull, he's actually fallen a little bit over the last few laps. Maybe he's had a moment. But Chonk and Temp are battling like a couple of nutters. Into Lesmo 1, into Lesmo 2. Not normally overtaking opportunities in this race, but we've seen 2 overtakes from one another in this race. And OS Degrees will just be hoping that he doesn't get sucked into their battle like he did get sucked into Alpha Integrals and Scholar Bull's battle earlier on. He goes to the inside anyway. OS Degrees not wasting any time, and he doesn't get the move done, but he knows that he has good pace here, and he wants to make up for earlier. He has no penalties, so on the road, I think if we finish right now, Temp and Chunk would fall behind OS Degrees anyway because of the 3-second penalties that those two drivers have. Also, Scholar Bull on the same strategy has a 3-second penalty, so that's less of a time to make up. But we actually following the gap to the leader. It's only about 15 seconds, 16 seconds, 10 seconds he's got to score the ball. So this race is certainly still on for OS Degrees. It'd be a mighty race if he can come back. There's 2 cars in front. Chonk goes for a move around the outside of Retafilio. Does he get the move done? He's certainly got the inside for the exit, but a better drive for Temp. And OS Degrees is right up behind them. Doesn't have much ERS left, I must say. And those 2 cars are battling so hard, they're actually slowing down this charging OS Degrees quite a lot. And he's just hoping that they'll take each other out. But there's been some superb racing from those 2. Absolutely hammer and tong, fighting for every position. And it is for race position, because these 2 drivers are all on the same age of hard compound tyre. But every lap they battle, they give Fade and more of an opportunity to come back at them late doors if there is no further safety car. And the more this goes on, it looks like the safety car phase is over. But who knows, anything can happen. And OS Degrees looks to make a move. No, he backs out of it. And these 2 cars go for each other. Ascari, he gets the move done around the outside and gets it nicely cleanly done, Temp. This is some great racing from these 3s. I think OS Degrees just does not want to get involved, but he does have a slightly better run out of Ascari down to Parabolica. OS Degrees sticks in the slipstream. I don't think he's going to make a move. He looks to the inside, actually. But that is just a bit of a wasteful watch, really. He cost himself some time. And Matusas is now right behind. This is a 4-way battle for 4th position. Matusas actually into the pits on the soft pair of tyres. He needs to pit again, so he's getting that pit stop out of the way. And now OS Degrees closing in on Chonk. Is he going to get the move done? No, he's too far back. He is too far back. But he'll hope to get by very soon because he has been slowed down massively, making a lot of progress back after having that collision with Alpha Integral about 10 laps to go, which took him out of net lead of the race and has put him down into about 4th for the net lead. I think Stenderpool has to pit, Fade has to pit, and Rugriff has pitted, actually. Rugriff has pitted for... I don't know, maybe he hasn't pitted. Maybe he's just fallen behind. Let's have a look at the detail for this. How old are these tyres? Magic thing. Interval. Oh, here we go. Look at it. I'm going, oh, someone spun that. Someone has spun. Who was that? That's Chonk spun out of the battle from OS Degrees. OS Degrees looks to be maybe entangled that slightly. I'm not too sure. He's still a second back from Temp. So he'll be... Yeah, so I think OS Degrees has fallen back here. So I think maybe a little tangle between Chonk and Temp. Yeah, a little tangle maybe between those 2 drivers. I've missed that as I was trying to work out what tyre Rugriff's on. Rugriff has just fallen backwards. So OS Degrees in 5th position. He has got by Chonk now. Virtue to Chonk having a bit of a momentum and losing time. and he's now out of the DRS range of Temp. He'll look to close that down, but I'm sure Temp will happily try and build that as much as possible as well, so they'll spend the ERS as much as possible. Oh my lord, we have near 15 laps racing left, so I don't know if we'll see a safety car. And Fade and Dead and Paul will be hoping for a safety car. That would light up their strategies massively. I think we see most cars drop for a pair of softs, to be honest. A few cars would maybe try to stick it out on the pair of hards. So, how are we looking? OS Degrees is closing down on Temp. Look, it's 5 seconds. He's got DRS down for Ascari. Will he try and go for a lose? He's about 20 seconds back on Fade. Fade may be able to get out in front of OS Degrees as it is, which OS Degrees will massively lament. Because he was maybe 3 seconds behind him and had the pace, and Fade is pitting. Fade is pitting out of the lead of the race. It is now crucial to find out where he is going to come out. So Skull the Ball goes by, that's expected. Dead in the Pool, he goes by. Dead in the Pool doesn't have to pit again. I don't think he's on the same tyres that he started on, so he has got his mandatory pits about the way. Temp gets by. I think OS Degrees will get by as well, but will he get out in front of Rugriff? Let's have a look. Rugriff also looks like he's going to get by. It's going to be close into the first corner, but Rugriff gets by. Chonk is now only a few metres away from Fade. Chonk on the much warmer tyres will maybe be able to push a little bit into those first two corners, but those medium tyres will give so much more joy and life, and it has to be a matter of time before he catches up with OS Degrees. OS Degrees needs to get a crack on with it, and Temp knows that. He just needs to keep OS Degrees behind to the end because they are racing merit for merit. Skull the Ball has the lead of the race, has a 3-second penalty, I believe. Let's have a look at his penalty. 3-second penalty. Temp has a 6-second penalty. So OS Degrees will be so frustrated being slowed up by Temp because Temp is keeping OS Degrees behind, but it's not worth anything because he's 6 seconds behind and he's got so many penalties. It's not worth anything to Temp, but Temp is racing for every single bit of the racetrack, and it's fair play to him to do that. So OS Degrees will be frustrated and locked up, but Fade is already in position to make a move on Rugriff. Rugriff trying to go extra long on those pair of mediums. I think that's going to make him come unstuck, but he's hoping for a safety car, I'm sure, to cut down the time loss of pitting. And you can see he's struggling so much. This move will be done almost by the start-finish line. I think it is going to be done by the start-finish line before the DRS activation zone. And Fade has the DRS to boot, so can close down on OS Degrees in front. OS Degrees hasn't got the move done. He's really been stuck up by Temp here. And OS Degrees, who had sights on that podium, had sights on the top step of the podium, is now falling behind. Obviously started on pole for the race in the sprint. And there is a yellow flag. And it's a yellow flag. It's Joker who is falling down. He must have had a bit of a spin. But OS Degrees so close up to Limoges. He's overshot a little bit. And now Fade will just slowly close the gap now. Now Fade has a 3-second penalty. OS Degrees has no penalty. Look, he's gained half second through there already. OS Degrees maybe just needs to let Fade catch up with him, let him deal with Temp and try and sneak by. Recharge a little bit of ERS. I think Temp is doing a brilliant job at managing his ERS. Still 20% of deployment left, 3% of deployment left for OS Degrees, so he's battling so hard to get by. And there's the 3-second time penalty for OS Degrees. So that little bit of advantage he had over Fade is gone. And Den the Pool is the only one in the top 6 to not have a penalty. Skull the Ball has a penalty in the lead, but only 3 seconds. Skull the Ball, if it stays as it is, no more safety cars, then that would be brilliant for his race prospects. Fade already 2 seconds behind OS Degrees. He's got so much more pace, and a massive offset in tyre pace as well, tyre life, which will give him more and more. And through the corners, you're going to see him take chunks of time. And OS Degrees had a little spin by touching that inside curb, and I think the wind out of OS Degrees' sails has unfortunately just vacated, and his charge through the field, determined charge after that contact with Alpha Integral, which I'm sure will be investigated, is going to it just looks like it's going to end here. I don't think he'll be getting a podium, maybe not. I mean, if he stays behind 10th and then Pool pits, then he can still get a podium. But Fade is now already 1.2 seconds. He won't have DRS here, but you'd have to imagine he'd have DRS through Ascari. So I think OS Degrees just needs to keep his head down, try and lap as consistently as possible, and hope that cars around him fail to finish. So, Fade will have DRS into here. I don't know if he's quite close enough. Both these cars have 3-second penalties. This is a race for third position here. This is a race on merit. Then the pool will be, I think, Fade's aim realistically by the end of the race. In a no safety car world, I think it's closed down a bit there, and he may have a chance to put him into the Loggia. A lot better drive out of there. Won't use too much EOS though, won't waste it. OS Degrees trying to defend the inevitable here. I think the inevitable is that Fade will overtake OS Degrees. So now down to Ascari. Let's see what our drives are like out there. I think it's slightly better than OS Degrees, so I think it will be another few corners before any kind of move is done. Fade not wanting to waste his EOS here. And there is an incident at Sector 2. It looks like Matusa has spun, and Fade has gone incredibly deep. Missed his braking zone and has lost a lot of time there to OS Degrees. OS Degrees will be delighted with that. That's more life that Fade has to take off his tyres. Den the Pool and Temp will be looking happy too, because that's more of a gap that Fade has to take out of his tyres here. He's made a little bit of a mistake there, and he's importantly for him, it's important that he doesn't crash out late stages, because Denton has pitted. So Denton Paul's pitted. So this is a race for the podium. Exactly. Denton Paul's decided there's no way he's taking his hard to the end. But Denton Paul switching onto a pair of softs here, you have to imagine he'd race up the order again, but maybe waiting for a safety car that just wasn't going to come. Fade, he is up into 4th position because of that, but 2 seconds behind OS Degrees with similar points penalties. Now OS Degrees will looks like he's going to get a podium here as long as he stays within 3 seconds of the car in front, and he has slowly just fallen back from Temp. Temp managing the pace quite nicely. 2nd position for this reserve driver, the best reserve driver of the day, let's say that. Skolopol gets another time penalty, so that makes it more difficult for him, but he has 14 seconds to spare to the car behind, who also has a 6-second penalty. Fade is the one to watch, really. Fade will be the one who could make a lot of movement. He's already gained about 5 seconds back to OS Degrees here, and OS Degrees has fallen back from Temp, so you have to imagine Fade will get past OS Degrees, probably Temp as well, and then Skolopol will have to do everything to keep a gap of roughly 10 seconds to Fade. No, roughly 3 seconds to Fade. He'll have to keep a gap of 3 seconds, so he'll have to close down about 11 seconds on the road as things stand. Maybe 14 seconds. It's looking unlikely that Fade can take the win, but 18 points would be great for his championship charge. Alpha Integral back up to 6th position, so making a move on McLeod after that contact with OS Degrees left him quite far behind. OS Degrees now back in DRS defense range from Fade, but Temp has a bit of a mistake out of De La Roggia, and that means that OS Degrees is now right up behind Temp. Now, can OS Degrees get the move done? He's been dying to get this move done for a while now, and if he can do that, then he will do everything in his power to keep away from Fade. Fade is only 6 seconds behind. OS Degrees looking at the inside, feeling so racy, wanting to get this move done, but I don't think he can. It looks like Temp is just starting to struggle with the through Ascari there, but OS Degrees wasn't great either, losing a couple of attempts to Fade in the Williams. OS Degrees in the Ferrari will have DRS for the first time in a few laps. We saw lap after lap him not get anywhere near him, and a bit of a moment out of Parabolica, and that's cost him, and now Fade has took that position. So Fade, OS Degrees looking forward fail to look backwards. And if you don't move forwards in motorsport, you end up moving backwards. And Fade is now in prime position to have a go at 10th. And it could be done here, to be honest. The drive is going to be much better. And that is 2 cars in the space of the 2 corners. Nice move from Fade. Now he's got 15 seconds to close on Sculler Ball. Realistically, he only needs to go close about 12 of those seconds because of the penalties that are applied. As at the moment, we have 10 laps to close down, let's say, a second a lap. Let's see if he can close that gap. The pressure is now on Sculler Ball to get his first win in the Syndicate Racing League. If we look behind though, OS Degrees is closing on 10th. He's so much better out of the second Lesbo, but just cannot get the move done. And he's been stuck behind 10th for such a long time. Certainly has the better pace, but has been absolutely stuck up behind 10th for so long here. This must be frustrating for the Ferrari driver. In the home fans, it looked like a race win was impossible. And truth be told, it would have been a race win if he didn't have that contact with Alpha Integral. And we'll look at that as part of the stewards after the race to see what can be done about that. But it was really unfortunate for OS Degrees seemingly. Looked like he just got a tap on the rear that sent his back end around into Ascari. Lost him so much time. Lost him about roughly 10-15 seconds. 10th running ride out of Metaphilia. Running out of talent, keeping up OS Degrees behind. And that unlocks OS Degrees to go and chase the cars in front. It's probably about 10 laps too late to go and trouble Skull. But if he can keep up with Fade, he'll be happy with that. At the moment, if Fade got another penalty of 3 seconds, then OS Degrees would take that second position off Fade. OS Degrees will try his everything to get by here. And we'll just have to see. There's not been any safety cars for a while either. Don't want to tempt fate. But one of those would really shake up the order right at the last here. So, Sector 2, there is a spinner. Who is that? It's Alex Trent G. I believe he's spun, but he's back on the track. No instant there. Captain Rainbow Fox. He's down in a lowly 15th position. He's had a bit of a one. AJS Inden. He's 4 seconds off a point here, looking further down the aisle now that fight for the front is over. But actually, 10th is closing down on OS3. He's closing down. Does he go for a move? I don't think he does. No, he stays behind. Thinks that isn't going to happen. Denton Paul has just made a move on Alpha Integral. So has McLeod. No, Alpha Integral has pitted. He's going on to a pair of softs to finish the race. Hoping maybe for a late safety car as well. And that hasn't come to fruition. So Matusas is up to 9th. Alpha Integral may fall behind his teammate here. He does fall behind his teammate. That gives AJ Sinden a point to defend. But he'll be defending from his teammate. Rugriff not too far behind. He will be looking to go punching, go hard. Let's have a look at the interval there. So let's have a look at the tyres. So 6 laps old Rugriff's tyres are. So I doubt he'll be able to hold on to Alpha Integral, but he'll maybe hopefully stick to his DRS clutches and see what positions he can make up in these final moments. 10th with 8 laps to go, clinging onto the back of OS Degrees. So the pace offset really wasn't that much, and you could tell that they were running similar paces because actually 10th was able to keep OS Degrees for so long, and a bit of a DRS train occurred with these two similarly matched drivers, and now OS Degrees has the lead, but Temp has DRS and could be going for a move here. Obviously on track, OS Degrees has 3 seconds worth of penalties, and I believe it's just 6 seconds for Temp. So on track, if they finish like it is, it'll definitely be OS Degrees a foot in front. But if OS Degrees gets another 3 seconds of penalties and Temp manages to keep it clean, and OS Degrees are really struggling, went deep into Retafili, and that compromised his exit. If OS Degrees gets another penalty, then this is a true battle for third. And Chonk is about 8 seconds behind, hasn't closed that gap, looking to the inside, braking a little bit earlier. OS Degrees last of the late breakers there, and got that move defended. Fade has closed the gap quite a bit, actually, 4 seconds, so the gap is 11 seconds. Fade is looking to close that gap a further 6 seconds before he can start licking his lips. 3 seconds worth of penalty, 6 seconds, so something like 8 seconds he needs to close down. Scholar Bull will just be doing everything in his power to manage that gap, manage it, and hope that Fade maybe picks up another time penalty as he's pushing. Temp is sideways. Oh, that's disaster for him. He was pushing so hard. He was so close to the back of OS Degrees for Ascari, and I cut to him thinking, oh, maybe he's got a move going. But actually, it's a spin, and it's a fall down the order. And for someone who's run so well, he certainly doesn't deserve that. That is very unfortunate for Temp. Oh, he spun it again. Those tyres are hot. And they'll try and get out of the way, but thinks he gets off the racing line there. Fair ding from doing so. Now, Alpha Integral and AGS Inden both have a point. Temp running so well, taking loose position for the Aston Martins this weekend, and I think he's just pushed those hard. 1 lap too long. Now, School the Bull and OS Degrees will hope that they can keep their hards until the end of the race. It's a podium for OS Degrees. I think he'll be a bit disappointed with that, with how well he ran in the sprint, winning the sprint, of course, and en route to win his team's home Grand Prix for Ferrari, but not to be. He hasn't run here for the Ferrari team. Neither Ferrari has actually. In the feature race, obviously, the sprint race is a different deal. He did win the sprint race, but he was looking for that feature race win to give him a bit of a boost in his championship. But he's still picking up good points this weekend against some of his rivals, Matusas and AJS Inden, but maybe not the points to close the gap at the top, the summit of the leaderboard, where Struggs crashed out early doors, and it's Scholar Bull who will be picking up good points to OS Degrees. They're quite similarly situated on the leaderboard, only 10 points or so splitting those two. So Sector 3, there's a spinner. Looks like Temp has spun it, maybe. No, it's Rugriff has spun it. And it doesn't look like a safety car's going to come out. There's been a bit of a field spread, actually. Scholar Bull almost coming up to the last place car. Alex Trent G running in 15th place. AJS Inden has crashed, and there is a safety car. I said there wouldn't be a safety car, and AJS Inden has crashed out of the Parabolica. And he is out of the race, and we have a late safety car. Now, this is absolute heartache for Skull, because actually Skull didn't want to hear that. He's got 3 seconds more penalties than the car around him. So he'll have to go punchy. And in fact, all the cars will have to go punchy. OS Degrees, he will be probably looking to go on to pair of softs. We'll have maybe 3 laps. So lap 49 will go on to. It will come in at the end of lap 50, 51, 52, 53. Yeah, so it will come in the end of lap 50, because it always does in feature races. Come in with 3 laps to spare. So we do have a battle at the end of the race here. Fade has pitted. Scholar Bull, he's pitted. He's decided to pit. OS Degrees, he's going to have to pit. You think that Chonk is going to do something different. I think Chonk will try to spare it out at the front. No, Chonk decides to pit. Now, Den the Pool, he's not going to pit. He's pitted fairly recently for those pair of softs. They'll be a bit old, I must say. So he is on 8-lap-old softs, and he goes into second position. Now, he could be an absolute kingmaker for his teammate Scholar Bull here. Scholar Bull, it could race away and build a 3-second gap. If Den the Pool can do enough to fairly defend from the cars behind, then actually Scholar Bull has a whiff of a chance. And Captain Rainbox gets a penalty under racing conditions, under safety car conditions, sorry. So unfortunate for AJ to crash out. I don't see what quite happened to him, but don't think he had as good a race as he did last time we raced at Monza. Of course not, because he won last time he was here, but not the same luck this time. It looks like most of the field has pitted for softs. The only people not to is the second place driver of Dead in the Pool. Rugif also not opting to pit for softs. And Captain Rainbow Fox, I think he'll pit, won't he? He has pitted, so I think he's just pitted though. So maybe they put him on to a used pair of softs. They can do that sometimes, but he's on a fresh pair now, so he's at the back of the grid, so it didn't cost him too much time. Now he will have a race to get back on to the lead. So Chonk saying his game crashed. Let me see if I can just send an invite quickly to him. invite to a game. I don't know. Sent you an invite if you want one, Chunk. I don't know if you've rejoined or not. But we have 4 laps left, so Chunk joins the back of the grid. And I'm just going to take the quickest break and rejoin for the final 3 laps here. Chunk saying his game reset itself. I'm not sure what that means. Did you lose your stuff? Anyway, I think the safety car will be in this lap. So, Skull the Bull. It's not in this lap. Interesting. So it'll be at the end of next lap. Still waiting. That hurts Skull the Bull actually. Because Skull the Bull needs Deadpool to absolutely do a job for him and defend like hell. If they're on mic together, then they will be hopefully coordinating. They'll be coordinating where the safety car restart will happen. How Deadpool can slow them down, because Skull and the Bull, if we look, they're all on similar aged softs, except from Deadpool, so that will make defending extra hard. But we won't have DOS at the end of this race. It will all be EOS racing. And Deadpool's up 16 positions here, but that's from the start of the race. Skull the Bull has... Deadpool could win this. I didn't realise this. So Deadpool has no penalties. If he can stay within 6 seconds of the leader and 3 seconds of Fade, OS and Chonk, then he's won this, right? He's absolutely won this. It looks good for Joker. It looks good for Rugaf. It looks good for Alpha Integral. No penalties. Alpha Integral may be under investigation by the stewards at the end of the race. I'm not going to lie. He had a bit of a collision with Earth Degrees that, from my view, looked like Alpha Integral would have to take the fall for that one. Catching the back of Earth Degrees and spinning them both around in the process. So, this is looking good for Deadpool. I was saying Deadpool could be a kingmaker for other drivers. Actually, he could be the kingmaker for himself. He needs to just keep up with Skull and the Bull. That's all he needs to do. Just keep up with Skull and the Bull. Don't try and let the gap go. He could beat his teammate here. The reserve driver, Deadpool, he seemed out of it mere moments ago. But he could, if he can stay within 6 seconds of the lead and 3 seconds of Fade and OS, this could be his race win. Number 1 in the SRL. Let's see how he does it. Now let's ride and Bull with Skull and judge how he does this restart. Keeps it a bit higher revs than everyone else does. Doesn't let the car get away as much as the other cars. Slowly building up to it. But I think he will have time just to let them go. But the later it is, the worse it will be. Deadpool just needs to stay with the cars here. And providing there's no penalties after the fact, and there could be, Deadpool will have the win of the race here. Let's see how he does. And he goes. Skull the Bull goes. 1 clear return to racing. Alpha Integral's got a collision warning. That will be extra frustrating. He had no penalties, but he's fallen down here. Deadpool just needs to stay alongside. I think Fade has gone for a move on Deadpool. Now that won't worry Deadpool too much, because Deadpool just needs to stay up with Fade. No, he crashes. OS Degrees crashes into him. Oh dear, no. So it's a race between Fade and Skull on the Bull. And you have to say, it's looking good for Fade because Fade has only 9/10. Oh, absolute pain for OS Degrees, pain for Dead in the Pool. That is awful for both of them. Dead in the Pool just needed to stay upward leaders, and he was on for a co-podium. He was possibly on for the race win, but it didn't work out that way. That's an absolute pain for both of those drivers. They don't deserve to be out, but Fade knows that he just needs to stay behind Skull of the Bull, not get a penalty, and in a position as his, I know Fade will want to go for the race on the track. She's got a gap to Chonk. Chonk has got a bit of a gap to Joker, so Joker... No, actually, Joker isn't going to gap. Why are we on leader? Let's go to interval. And it looks like Skull and the Bull is going to get took by Fade here. Fade's going to take the lead of the race. Such pain for Skull and the Bull. He's led for so long here. Fade sends one up the inside for good measure, and he gets the job done. Skull and the Bull won't take it lightly. Skull and the Bull will want the pride of finishing first, and hopefully he'll go for an overtake here. He's not leaving anything to measures. And Skull and the Bull looks left, looks like he's taking the outside line, and Fade will just hang him out there. Let's have a look. Oh, he gets a bit of a better drive out of the Lesmo, and Fade tries to close it down. Let's get a good camera view of this. And looks like, oh, there's a spin. There's a spin from Skull, and it looks like Chonk could take the win. Joker is only 2 seconds behind. Joker could be taking his inaugural win of the... How has this happened? Joker is now only 2 seconds behind. The Alpine is behind Chonk. He just needs to get a 2-second gap. There's a contact between Skull, the Bull, and Fade. They were racing super hard with each other over those scraps. They didn't need to. He could have let him by. And it could be Joker taking his inaugural win. He just needs to hold on 7 tenths to the end. Could Joker take his first win in the SRL? He comes to Parabolica. He just needs to keep it neat and tidy. He's lost 3 tenths, he's lost 4 tenths, but this is okay. He only needs to keep 5 more tenths, and I think he's done it, providing there's no penalties. Joker has just took his first win in the Syndicate Racing League. That absolutely came out of nowhere, but he had no penalties throughout the whole race, and you have to hand it to him. Absolutely superb job. Well done, Joker. You've come out of nowhere to win that race, but you have to stay in it to win it. And the crash between Skull, the Bull, and Fade, racing hammer and nails, really cost Fade, because you have to think Fade, he could have took 18 points. He would have been happy with that 18 points to close the gap to Shrugs, who's out of this race, and he still picked up 8 or 9 points there, but he's going to be so disappointed as Joker takes his first win. Well done, congratulations. Mr. Ball Bagley Stealth Shot saying well done. And 10th gets driver of the day in game. Obviously, there'll be a driver of the day vote. But Joker smashing it out of the park there and picking up his maiden win, subject obviously to stewarding and seeing that, all's good on the penalty front. But you absolutely came from nowhere, Joker, and your race came alive. I don't think I rode on board with you a single time, Joker, until right at the end. I couldn't believe it. You didn't have a penalty. Oh my God, well done. Well done, Joker. Smashing race win. Absolutely smashing. I'm just going to go quiet for a second. Not because I've got a lump in my throat, but just because I need to take these standings down, because I cannot believe this race result. Joker, coming from nowhere after the safety car restart, he kept his nose clean throughout the whole race, and that is why you don't get penalties, because you never know what's going to happen. A final safety car, a final crash between Skull, the Bull, and Fade. Disappointment for those two, for sure. Disappointment for OS Degrees, who could have led this race as well, all the way to the end. And oh my Lord, what a race we just had there. What a finish. We didn't see that coming out of it. Absolutely superb job. Now I'm just going to go through and get all this recorded down. Look at all these incidents. So many incidents, but so little of involving Joker. Well done to Joker. He had certainly a strange set of soft, hard, soft. It's not normally a winning strategy, but it won this time around. Well done to him. So I'll just get clipped. So Emmy Boxer Bot saying he's chonked Fade. Well done to Joker from Harry Fabian. Stealth Shot saying congrats. Let's get this clipped because we need to have these results recorded for the process. But reward for Joker after going through 38 instants from Zandvoort. Absolute reward. Okay, so I think I'll end the stream there, but massive congratulations to Joker, who takes his maiden win in the SRL on the road. Obviously, all subject to stewarding. That will be finished off this week. And just a massive congratulations to Joker on that win. He'll be happy with that. Obviously, there was a sprint race there as well. OS Degrees winning that one, taking 8 points, and he'll be disappointed with that race result. But congratulations. And yes, I will be going off now. But yeah, I'm Crab, and this has been a Syndicate Racing League production.